Previously on Raw.
I continue to be flabbergasted by how stupid you Americans are. Now, seeing as The Undertaker is already booked in a match tonight, that just leaves you three, Guerrero, Jericho and Rock. So come on and get some right now.
You seem awfully calm about tonight's match. Given what William Regal said about you earlier.
I'm well aware of Regal's comments and I'll deal with him later. What I do have plans for is to kick Chris Jericho's ass. You changed tonight's 6-man tag team match, Vince. I can't do that, Hunter. Yo, Vince, I don't take kindly to Regal's actions. In fact, I also think you should put Undertaker in that main event. 8-man tag team match. And Vince, that partner should be me. Hey wait, that's Raven! As Raven slides into the ring, picks up Eddie Guerrero and hits the even floor DDT. Rock, Jericho, Radicals, game over. We're just 3 days away from Fully Loaded, as the World Wrestling Federation makes its final stop before heading to Las Vegas, as SmackDown airs live from the Rushmore Plaza Civic Center in Rapid City, South Dakota. Aptly named Rushmore Plaza for obvious reasons, because the location is half an hour away from what is known as the Shrine of Democracy, Mount Rushmore. Michael Cole and Taz are on commentary, as tonight Spike Dudley takes on Albert in one-on-one action. We know the Dudley Boys will defend their tag team titles against X Factor at Caesars Palace, but what we don't know is what kind of tag team title match this will be, because the winner of tonight's match will be able to choose a stipulation for his tag team. Along the line here, as the stipulation could well be used to the winning team's advantage for the upcoming title match. And even if this match may seem a mismatch due to the size difference, it should be noted that Spike Dudley has beaten wrestlers the size of Albert in the past, so X Factor shouldn't be focusing too much on what kind of tag team match they'll be choosing for Sunday. Only one more match announcement, as Jacqueline will take on the opponent she pinned on Raw in a tag team match, Bull Nakano. The number one contender has proven she's not broken down, and she can say she was the first woman in the WWF to hand Arja Kong her first defeat since her return last month. The women's champion might not have been the one being pinned, but she'll know not to underestimate her opponent for Las Vegas. Tonight, Jacqueline needs to continue that momentum by beating Bull Nakano again, but this time in a singles match, to convince the doubters that she'll leave Las Vegas as the new women's champion, and that she won't be heading for retirement. 3 announcements for tonight's show. First, Linda McMahon will be in attendance with Mick Foley to address the stipulation on the 10-man Tag Team Elimination match. What will the CEO have to say in reference to the fact that if the team of Jericho and the Radicals lose at Fully Loaded, then they will be fired? And we'll also find out the reasons for why Raven decided to interfere in the 8-man tag team match at Raw, leading to Big Show, Haku, Regal and Triple H getting the victory, as well as the announcement that Raven will now be part of that team, heading into the 10-man Tag Team Elimination match this Sunday. The former ECW champion alluded to the wings of the Raven flying to a new civilization, but who knows what Raven could be talking about? Will we ever know what goes on in the head of Raven? What we do know is that Raven will be in attendance tonight to talk about his actions. And lastly, a big announcement to see of what could be arguably the greatest WrestleMania rematch in history, as Jim Ross once again sits down for an interview with Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. One could cut the tension with a knife, the last time the WWF Champion and the People's Champion did a sit-down interview with Jim Ross in the lead up to that match at WrestleMania 4 months ago. But what will be the final thoughts of Austin and The Rock before Fully Loaded? Jericho and the Radicals, as well as their opponents Triple H, Big Show, Haku and Regal, will be here tonight, as well as the Brothers of Destruction. Edge and Christian, Kurt Angle and the WCW owner are all in attendance as SmackDown gets underway. Linda McMahon opens up the final show before Fully Loaded, and she's joined by Mick Foley as the pair come down to the ring. The CEO has her own thoughts on the 10-man Tag Team Elimination match this Sunday, and we're going to find out why right now. Now, just before I get on to my announcement, Mick, you're going to have to forgive me as I'm going to steal your catchphrase, because I couldn't think of a better place to host tonight's SmackDown than right here in Rapid City, South Dakota. Oh my, says Michael Cole, a cheap pop from the CEO. Mick Foley appreciates the phrase stealing, but Taz isn't too fond of the predictable cheap pop. But there's a reason as to why I'm glad we're here tonight as it relates to the 10-man Tag Team Elimination match for Fully Loaded. Because if you go just down the road, what you will come across just so happens to be one of our great national memorials of America, Mount Rushmore. The sculpting faces of our past presidents that have helped shape this great nation. And even as the sculptor said himself, the shrine of our democracy. And Mick, I'd like to think that when it comes to the World Wrestling Federation, that all of our WWF superstars are given a fair chance to climb to the top of this great industry. And it's done so in the name of democracy. That is, in the interests of fairness. But that leads me to the announcement for Fully Loaded, because we've got a 10-man Tag Team Elimination match. On one team, you've got Haku, Raven, William Regal, Big Show and Triple H. And their opponents will be Dean Malenko, Perry Saturn, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho. And moreover, if Jericho and the Radicals happen to lose that match, then they're fired. But if Jericho and the Radicals beat Triple H's team, then what reward do Jericho, Benoit, Malenko, Saturn and Guerrero get for their winning? Then they get to keep their jobs. And what happens to Triple H, Big Show, Haku, Raven and William Regal if they lose that match? They don't get fired? You see, I wouldn't exactly call that democratic. And that's why I think Jericho and the Radicals are at a disadvantage. And from being involved in this type of match setup, they don't benefit from participating. So what I'd like to do is to make some changes, in the interests of fairness of course. So Jericho, Radicals, could I ask you to please come down to the ring? The Radicals come out first. The group consisting of Benoit, Guerrero, Malenko and Saturn can't exactly be pleased with how the events in Raw unfurled following the conclusion of the 8-man tag team match on Monday. More so after the fact that they showed their loyalty to the World Wrestling Federation by rejecting Shane's offer to jump back to WCW. And what about Chris Jericho? 3 weeks ago, Y2J was riding a wave of momentum as he worked his way to the King of the Ring final, and then he beat Kurt Angle in that final to become the new king. The Ayatollah of rock and roller should be on the verge of challenging for the WWF Championship, but now Jericho has the unfortunate task of challenging to stay employed. It's Y2J who speaks on behalf of himself and the Radicals. You know, I think it's funny that within a space of a couple of hours in Raw, Linda, that we went from me calling your daughter, Stephanie, old, and the Radicals rejecting the offer to jump ship to WCW, to all of a sudden being tarnished because of our past associations with World Championship Wrestling. And whilst I have loved the chance to exact my revenge on Triple H at Fully Loaded, especially after our grueling last man standing match at last year's Fully Loaded, I now find myself, along with the Radicals, fighting to keep our jobs. And as much as I'm not one to whine and complain about our upcoming match on Sunday, I find it hilarious that our past associations with WCW is the reason why, if we lose at Fully Loaded, then we're fired. We're not here for WCW, Linda. The Radicals are here to show that they are the most dominant force in the World Wrestling Federation. And since we're stealing catchphrases, I think I can speak on behalf of Chris Benoit that the Radicals are out here to be the best damn group in the WWF. Prove them wrong! Chris Benoit nods to the catchphrase stealing from Y2J. And as far as Chris Jericho's concerned, I am Y2J, baby! I am the Ayatollah of rock and roller! And more importantly, I am the king of the world! And Linda McMahon, I'm not interested in a return to WCW. I'm more interested in kicking Triple H's ass at Fully Loaded. I'm more interested in giving your daughter Stephanie a hard time. And because I'm the 2001 King of the Ring, I'm more interested in seeing who wins the WWF Championship in Las Vegas between The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Because Rapid City, you're looking at the next challenger for the belt, and his name is Y2J. So, Linda, how do you plan to solve this undemocratic conundrum? Well, Jericho, whilst I appreciate yours and the Radicals' loyalty to the World Wrestling Federation, and whilst I agree the stipulation for your match is indeed undemocratic, as CEO, I have to make the firm but fair choices in the name of the World Wrestling Federation. So I have to be clear with you, Y2J, Radicals. If you think I can just take away the stipulation that should you lose a 10-man tag team elimination match that you'll be fired, unfortunately, I can't do that, I'm afraid. But what I can do is add to the stipulation that will give you guys in the ring a fair shake, in the interests of fairness. But I'm not just going to add to the match for the sake of it, because tonight, Jericho, Radicals, you will have your chance to prove yourself against your opponents. Now I'm suggesting this a proposal for the sake of democracy, and more so because Vince McMahon can't use this as ammunition against me when we have our day in court. So here's my suggestion. Jericho, Radicals, you face your opponents at Fully Loaded in 3 days' time. So tonight, we're going to have 3 matches, or rather a best of 3. And should you guys win this best of 3, I will add to the stipulation for your 10-man tag team elimination match in Las Vegas. But should you lose tonight's best of 3, then the stipulation of should you lose your match then you'll be fired will remain. So here's the deal. Best of 3 tonight. Now you guys can pick any opponent from the opposing team in any type of match. You may choose a singles match. You may choose a tag team match. And seeing as the match at Fully Loaded was sprung upon you rather spontaneously on Raw, I'm going to spontaneously declare that you, Jericho and the Radicals, can choose your opponent, a match type, right now. Because that is how we will open up SmackDown tonight. So Jericho, Radicals, what's it going to be? Jericho, Benoit, Guerrero, Malenko and Saturn huddle around each other and talk about who should wrestle in the opening match. When they separate, Chris Benoit has a mic in his hand. You know, Linda, ever since I've come to the World Wrestling Federation, time and time again, I've stated that I am the best damn technical wrestler in the WWF. And I'm going to prove it right now. So William Regal, come on out here and face me like a man, not like a bitch that hides behind a mask. Face me in the ring and see if you have what it takes to match up to the Crippler. Prove you're not a coward, Regal. Prove that you are also a damn good technical wrestler. But more so, Regal, prove me wrong. Regal's music hits and he obliges. So tonight we're going to get a best of 3 involving Jericho, Radicals versus Triple H's team. Chris Benoit versus William Regal will be the first match in this best of 3. Now it's up to Jericho, Guerrero, Malenko and Saturn to talk strategy, whilst Triple H, Big Show, Haku and Raven will no doubt be conversing who should wrestle in the next matchup. Possibly huge stakes here for Jericho and the Radicals if they win, but the question is, what will those stakes be? The rest of the Radicals and Chris Jericho, as well as Mick Foley and Linda McMahon, leave the ring as Chris Benoit vs William Regal gets underway. This is important for both superstars to get the first victory in tonight's opening match, not just for pride, not just for technical prowess, but for momentum going forward for tonight, as well as the match at Fully Loaded. It's the Southpaw getting the first offense in the match with an exploder suplex right off the bell, before throwing Benoit out of the ring with the Rabid Wolverine teetering on the apron. A couple of right punches by Regal, followed by a back suplex onto the apron, puts the Goodwill Ambassador in control. Regal looks for another suplex after a flurry of chops at ringside, but the move is countered by the Crippler, elbowing his way out of trouble and following up with a neckbreaker. Benoit throws Regal back in the ring and hits a suplex of his own from behind, grabbing at Regal's shoulder and leg to throw the former commissioner over the former Intercontinental Champion. A jumping knee to the face leads to an early pinfall, but only gets a count of 1. Benoit continues the offense, not allowing Regal to get up from the kickout by hitting a DDT. He stalks his prey like only a rabid Wolverine would, and Irish whips his opponent into the ropes. Benoit ducks an incoming Regal and goes behind to hit a dragon suplex, but his offense ends there as Regal manages to dodge a foot stomp, Benoit stomping at the mat and hurting his foot in the process, which allows Regal to get up and hit his opponent in the stomach. Regal gets up to take down the Crippler. The added helicopter spin and slap to the back of Benoit's head, done to annoy Benoit, Regal looking indeed that he can prove Benoit wrong. An elbow drop, followed by more repeated chops, leads the Goodwill Ambassador to hit a butterfly suplex, and Regal goes for the pin. The ref comes down only to make a count of 2. The former commissioner isn't too far away from scoring one over Benoit and putting Triple H's team in a good position to win this best of 3-fall affair tonight in Rapid City. More Regal offense, as an Irish whip, drop down and leapfrog sees the former European champion trip up his opponent. Another Irish whip, this time to the corner, as Regal hits a European uppercut on Benoit and then stomps on the chest of the grounded Crippler, until Benoit fights back, getting up to launch a missile dropkick at his opponent. The Crippler takes control with right hands and then picks up the Goodwill Ambassador for a scoop slam before heading to the top turnbuckle, no doubt looking for the diving headbutt. Fingers pointed in the air, Benoit leaps off the top and successfully hits the move. He then cuts his throat to signal the crossface, but Regal from out of nowhere hits Benoit in the face and follows up with a shoulder capture suplex pin. Cole and Taz think Regal's going to steal it. The referee comes down to make the pin, but at the last 10th of a second, Benoit manages to kick out at 2. Regal tries to continue the attack, but Benoit prevents any further offense, kicking at his opponent. Benoit gets up as Regal tries to shake off the cobwebs and looks for a chop, only to walk into the Crippler crossface. The referee asks William Regal if he's had enough. There's nowhere for him to go, as the submission is right in the middle of the ring, but the Goodwill Ambassador manages to break out with the crossface. He then charges at the rabid Wolverine, who somehow sees this coming and manages to turn what could have been a Regal takedown into a Benoit DDT. Great ring awareness from the Crippler. Benoit is going full force with his attacks now. Punches and a side suplex, before picking up his opponent with more punches, kicks, and then a German suplex. Again, Benoit cuts his throat to signal the end is near, only for Regal to counter a Benoit attack, but the Wolverine fights back to slam Regal's head into the turnbuckle. The former Intercontinental Champion then grabs at the waist of his opponent, pushing him back in the corner before hitting an overhead belly to belly, taking Regal from one end of the ring to the other. Benoit looks to chop at the leg of Regal, but Regal dodges the attack, then Irish whips Benoit into the ropes, but is unsuccessful in taking down the Crippler, who sees the attack coming, fighting back with elbows, before hitting a flying knee at his opponent. Benoit then follows up with a reverse suplex, before again heading up to the top turnbuckle. Benoit points both index fingers in the air, but isn't successful in hitting the diving headbutt again. Regal dodges, and then rolls up Benoit for the pin. The referee counts, only for Benoit to counter the pin into a roll-up of his own. But the referee can only make a count of 2, however, as Regal manages to kick out. The rabid Wolverine is the first one back up to hit a butterfly suplex, but the Goodwill Ambassador expertly counters the move. Regal picks up his opponent and attacks with a right elbow, right hand, and then a snap suplex, attacking Benoit's face with his boot. The former commissioner decides that he's going to go up to the top rope. "We don't see this much from Regal," says Michael Cole. He taunts Benoit for the top before successfully hitting an elbow drop. What an exclamation point this would be if Regal could get the victory as he goes for the cover. So close. Regal's almost grabbed the shot victory. He picks up his opponent, only for Chris Benoit to lock in the Crippler crossface again. Regal's near the ropes and he might be able to break the submission, but the pain must be excruciating. The referee asks if the Goodwill ambassador has had enough. Regal taps out. The referee rings for the bell as Benoit gets the victory. A great start for the Radicals and Chris Jericho tonight. Two great technical wrestlers, suplexes galore, reversals abundant. But it's the Rabid Wolverine coming out on top in SmackDown's opening match. Regal may not have proved Benoit wrong, but he sure came close. The victory puts Jericho and the Radicals up 1-0 in this best of 3 tonight. They only need to win one more match, but that depends on what Triple H and the rest of his team have in mind for Jericho and the remaining Radicals. Benoit celebrates as he walks up the ramp, whilst Regal has a look of disgust at his opponent from the ring. "Hey, there's JR Cole," says Taz, as Jim Ross is shown on the screen, because we're about to get ready for another huge interview, as good old JR awaits the arrival of the WWF Champion and the People's Champion. Jim Ross talks with The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin ahead of their WWF title match at Fully Loaded, and that's coming up next. Rock, Austin, thank you for agreeing to do this sit-down interview with me again. I know tensions are high and there's a lot on the line this Sunday at Fully Loaded, but Steve, if I could...
Don't look at me like that, Rock. I said, don't look at me like that.
Rock continues to stare at Austin and Jim Ross unconsciously does the same thing. Austin continuing,
You don't look at me like that, Jim. I'll beat the hell out of you right here, right now.
Jim Ross holds up his hand. My apologies, Austin. Let's talk about Fully Loaded. WWF Championship on the line. And Rock, I'll get on to you in a moment. But Steve...
That's right, JR. You should be asking the questions first to Stone Cold Steve Austin, the WWF Champion.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you, Steve. Now, last time we did this interview, I asked The Rock about what it meant to be the WWF Champion. But this Sunday, you're the one going into Caesar's Palace as the champion. So my question is, what does the WWF Championship mean to you?
Well, what do you think it means to me, Jim? It means I'm the very best that this industry has to offer. It means I'm the greatest wrestler in the world. You know, I came off an arm injury in Japan, fired by WCW, was at one time damn near paralyzed in a wrestling ring and fearing I would end up like Christopher Reeve, and then spent a year in the sidelines recovering from neck surgery as I watched that sumbitch become WWF champion. And I vowed to come back bigger, better, stronger, with more ass and win the WWF title. And that's exactly what I've done. I said time and time again that if you're not in this business to win the WWF Championship, then you've no business being here.
I couldn't agree more with that statement. Rock, if I could turn to you, this Sunday at Fully Loaded, you find yourself this time challenging for the WWF Championship. And therefore, the onus is on you to win the WWF title. It's one fall to a finish. Austin's a WWF champion. He doesn't need to beat you.
I can beat you.
He doesn't need to beat you for the WWF Championship. You, Rock, need to beat Austin to once again become WWF champion. Moreover, Rock, if you don't beat Stone Cold for the WWF title in Vegas,
He won't!
If you don't beat Stone Cold, Rock, you will never, ever again be able to challenge for the WWF Championship. Ever again. Does that change your mindset going into this title match in 3 days' time?
Well, first of all, Jim, before The Rock answers your question, he's got a question for Stone Cold Steve Austin. So, Austin, The Rock asks why you shouldn't come over there and slap the piss out of you for interrupting. Because that's extremely selfish. Here is good old JR trying to do a sit-down interview, and you want to resort to violence before our match at Fully Loaded? Show some damn respect, Rock!
Well, look guys, if we could concentrate on the interview, please. Rock, what is your mindset going into the match at Fully Loaded? You see, this is the reason why The Rock knows he's going to win at Fully Loaded, Jim. Look at the man sat next to you, the very man that turned his back on the people. Hey, I never said I wanted to be these people's hero. The very man, your best friend, Jim, that beat the hell out of you in front of your home crowd in Oklahoma. Hey, I never said I was Jim's best friend. Austin, you continue to interrupt The Rock, and The Rock will have no trouble getting out of this chair and whipping your candy ass with it, just like you did The Rock at WrestleMania. That comment seems to have put Austin in his place. You see, JR, the utter contempt that Austin has shown in this business, the utter disrespect he's shown you, he's shown The Rock, he's shown the people. At Fully Loaded, all the contempt, all the disrespect, is coming to haunt him in Las Vegas. You know, Jim, The Rock's gonna share something with you, something with the people, that The Rock didn't want to admit the last time we did a sit-down interview together. Austin, you said that you needed to beat The Rock. You needed more than anything in the world to once again become WWF champion. And truth be told, there were times when The Rock thought, for all of The Rock's charisma, for all of The Rock's might, for all of The Rock's skill to beat Austin, The Rock thought, I thought, that Stone Cold Steve Austin just had that little bit more in him to leave WrestleMania as WWF champion. But during that match at WrestleMania, there was one moment, that it became crystal clear that not only did The Rock think he could beat Stone Cold Steve Austin, but The Rock knew he could beat Stone Cold Steve Austin. And that moment was in the form of Vince McMahon. You, Austin, had Vince interrupt The Rock, pinning you to become WWF champion, and then the two of you worked together to take out the Great One so you could win the gold. The fact of the matter is, Austin, you needed to beat The Rock for the WWF Championship at WrestleMania, but you didn't beat The Rock on your own. You needed Vince to help you beat The Rock. Now, JR, if you could ask your question... No. This isn't a sit-down interview with The Rock. This is an interview with The Rock and the World Wrestling Federation champion, Stone Cold Steve Austin. You talk about disrespect whilst you're trying to derail this interview. Why do you let JR ask old Stone Cold a question? And you might want to take the bass out of your voice when talking to Stone Cold, because I'm starting to get a little pissed off. Well, Stone Cold Steve Austin, if you're a little pissed off, why don't you come do something about it? Hey, what kind of interview is this, JR? I can't believe The Rock has to go... Guys, please. You get your chance in 3 days' time. Could we please concentrate on the interview? Austin, you're right. I should ask you the next question. How do you respond to The Rock's comments about how you needed Vince to help you beat The Rock for the WWF title at WrestleMania? So what? Vince comes at the end of the match. I don't recall Vince being there for the start of the match. We went, what, nearly 30 minutes, and now The Rock wants to make excuses for losing the WWF Championship? Maybe The Rock has to confess the fact that not only could he not get the job done at WrestleMania, but he will never get the job done against Stone Cold Steve Austin at Fully Loaded. But about Vince McMahon, he's not a factor anymore. So let's take Vince McMahon out of the equation. The bottom line is, Rock, I got the WWF title and you want it, but you're not gonna get it. You did it at WrestleMania, you won't at Fully Loaded. And after Sunday night, you never will again. And that's all I gotta say about that. Well, I know this rivalry has gotten so personal, I guess there's no point me asking your feelings towards each other. He's a piece of trash. Well, that answers that then. Well, JR, let The Rock go on record and say personally, I think Austin's a piece of trash. But on a professional note, I think Austin's a bigger piece of trash. Does The Rock like Stone Cold Steve Austin? No. Does The Rock have respect for Stone Cold Steve Austin for what he's done in the WWF? Also no. And The Rock will tell you why. Because when you decide to ally yourself with the world's biggest asshole, Vince McMahon, for you to win the WWF Championship, then The Rock loses all respect for you, Austin. Oh, really? Well, that's a bit rich coming from you, Rocky? Remind me who helped you become WWF Champion for the first time. Was it Vince McMahon by any chance? And then who beat you for the WWF title? Oh, that's right, it was Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah, Stone Cold, you're right. The Rock won't deny that. Vince McMahon helping The Rock win the WWF Championship. And yes, it was you, Austin, beating The Rock at WrestleMania 15 to once again become WWF Champion. But that was 2 years ago. Now the tables have turned, Austin. This isn't 1999. This isn't WrestleMania 15. This is Fully Loaded, 2001. Las Vegas, and this time The Rock watches Vince McMahon cry from ringside as The Rock beats Stone Cold Steve Austin and leaves Las Vegas as your WWF Champion. Now Jim, The Rock believes the next question is for him, so could you repeat your question to The Rock? You mean the one about the mindset? That's the one, Jim. Well, okay, Rock. Could you please tell me about your mindset going, it doesn't matter about the mindset. You see, JR, as long as Stone Cold Steve Austin has Vince McMahon watching his back, helping him win, giving him hugs, pretty much wiping his ass, your time, Austin, as WWF Champion is on borrowed time. Because you no longer have what it takes to go one-on-one with the Great One. JR, you say that The Rock has to beat Stone Cold Steve Austin to become WWF Champion. Well, The Rock doesn't see it like that. It's Stone Cold Steve Austin that again needs to beat The Rock to prove himself to be the greatest WWF Champion of all time. But The Rock guarantees you, Austin, you can't get the job done with Vince in your corner. And that's why, JR, The Rock guarantees he leaves Las Vegas as the new WWF Champion. But The Rock will agree on one thing with you, Austin. There can be only one World Wrestling Federation Champion, but at Fully Loaded, that will be The Rock. With all due respect, Austin. Steve, any final words? But Austin stares at The Rock and then walks out of the room before the interview is officially done. Oh man, I can't wait for Fully Loaded, says Michael Cole to Taz. The Rock and Austin in a rematch from WrestleMania. But don't you think, Taz, that The Rock's gone under the skin of Stone Cold in that interview with JR? The Rock's not in the head of Stone Cold, Cole. In fact, I'm pretty sure Hey, wait a minute! Michael Cole and Taz are interrupted by The Rock, who's coming down to the ring. Well, we thought the People's Champion had gotten the last word on the sit-down interview, but it seems that the Great One isn't finished, as The Rock picks up a mic. Now Stone Cold Steve Austin, you decide to walk out of our sit-down interview with JR like a bitch? Nah. Austin, you don't get to end this interview. Because as far as The Rock is concerned, The Rock is not done. The Rock wasn't ready to end the interview, just like The Rock wasn't ready to leave South Dakota without talking to the people. Because finally, The Rock has come back to Rapid City. You see, Austin, we didn't even get to talk about the stakes, because now the stakes are being raised even higher. Because not only does The Rock have to win a Fully Loaded to become champion, but if The Rock loses the match, then he'll never be able to wrestle for the WWF title ever again. And it seems that with the new stipulation added, that this may indeed be The Rock's last chance to become the WWF champion. And that the stipulation has gotten some of the millions and millions of The Rock's fans worried. But the People's Champion is here to tell the people that it doesn't matter about the stipulation. Because The Rock knows, Austin, that if you've got Vince McMahon in your ear, inside your head, pretty much up your candy ass, as simply put, Stone Cold, you don't have what it takes to beat The Rock for the WWF title at Fully Loaded. So, Stone Cold Steve Austin, you better get used to the Stone Cold fact that The Rock is guaranteeing that he's walking into Fully Loaded, rolling the dice, laying down the cards, and hitting a jackpot. Because, Austin, The Rock is leaving Las Vegas as the new WWF Champion. 3 days, Austin, 3 days. And then your reign as WWF Champion is over. If you smell... The Rock has almost had the last word in Stone Cold and a WWF title match in 3 days' time. But his catchphrase is interrupted by the chairman and the champion as Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin are coming down to the ring. It seems Vince might want the final word ahead of the WWF title match this Sunday. Well, that's just typical, isn't it? Oh, Great One. Coming down to the ring, doing your little song and dance with these idiots. Well, I don't care much for your words, pal. And as far as me and Stone Cold Steve Austin go, I'm the one getting the last word in tonight. Now, Rock, just before I
end this little conversation, let me set the record straight on the WWF Championship match at Fully Loaded. Now, sure, I came down to the ring, I held Austin, beat you for the WWF title at WrestleMania, and I'm damn proud of it. And to be honest, I'd quite happily do it again on Sunday. But let me make one thing perfectly clear to you, Rock. The WWF title match at Fully Loaded, the match that you have to win, otherwise you'll never be champion ever again. Well, Rock, I'm telling you right now, I will not be accompanying Stone Cold to the ring in Las Vegas.
Whoa, really? Say Taz and Cole respectively.
You think old Stone Cold can't beat you for the title, Rock? Don't you forget, Rock, that he is Stone Cold Steve Austin, the toughest SOB in the WWF. You can forget about guaranteeing you'll leave as champion. In fact, I'm the one making it guaranteeing, because as far as I'm concerned, Rock, I'm guaranteeing that you can get out of this ring right now and get the hell out of my arena. Go on, get the hell out.
Vince is ordering The Rock out of the ring, and Austin looks ready to fight. But surprisingly, The Rock's body language would indicate that he's going to agree to Vince's demands without any resistance. But the Great One has a few more words for Vince and Austin.
Vince McMahon, you want to throw The Rock out of the ring, out of the arena? No problem. But know this, The Rock is still not done. And The Rock promises he will have the final word. No, The Rock guarantees he will have the final word before tonight is all said and done.
The Rock leaves the ring and walks up the ramp without taking his eyes off Vince and Austin. But it is Vince that has the final word in this particular conversation.
You'll do no such thing, Rock. I'll make sure of it. I will have the last word because I'm Vince McMahon, damn it. And that's the bottom line, because Vince McMahon said so. If you smell what Vince McMahon is cooking.
The Rock stares at Vince from the ramp, emotionless, whilst Austin is in the ring smiling. Maybe due to Vince being the one getting the last word on The Rock, or maybe it's because of the use of The Rock and Austin's catchphrases. Taz wonders how on earth The Rock can have the last word in SmackDown tonight, if he's not even going to be in the building. Michael Cole is sure that The Rock will find a way. Just 3 days from arguably the biggest WWF title rematch in history. A reminder, The Rock must win the WWF Championship at Fully Loaded, because if he fails to beat Stone Cold Steve Austin, then he will never again, ever, be able to challenge for the WWF title. But The Rock has guaranteed that he will leave Las Vegas as the new WWF Champion, and as Michael Cole tells Taz and the audience, when The Rock guarantees something, he always delivers. But it's all or nothing for the challenger as he meets the Texas Rattlesnake in a rematch for the title from WrestleMania 17. Taz says the preparation begins now for The Rock as he's being thrown out of the building by Mr. McMahon, but Michael Cole isn't too sure if we've seen the last of the People's Champion tonight. SmackDown continues.
Well, that's just great, isn't it?
Says an unimpressed Triple H to the remaining members of his team, Big Show and Haku, ahead of their 5-on-5 Tag Team Elimination match this Sunday.
Linda McMahon thinks she can stock the card against the house? Well, she should know that I am the house because I am the game. Now listen, I know we've got to win the remaining 2 matches to keep the stipulation that should Jericho and the Radicals lose it Fully Loaded, then they're fired. And as far as Y2 Idiot's comments about my beautiful wife on Raw, I'm going to make him regret it. So I'm telling you right now, I'll be going one-on-one with Jericho later. And as far as the king of the world goes, if I were Jericho, I wouldn't be worried about losing my job at Fully Loaded. I'd be more concerned with making it to Fully Loaded, because after tonight, Y2J's going to be lucky if he makes it to Vegas. Right. That takes care of match 2, which just leaves us with one more match. So, Big Show, Haku, where's Raven?
The trio look around the back only to see Raven on the floor above, smiling.
Raven, what are you doing up there? Shouts Big Show. Get down. We need to discuss the Guys, it's beautiful. I can see into the sunset already, A new day comes to a new civilization.
But Big Show mumbles to Triple H.
I think he's looking at the parking lot.
But the game shouts for Raven to come down.
Raven, bring your new civilization with you down here. We need to discuss the final match.
Raven agrees to come down as Triple H is about to talk, but the former hardcore champion interrupts the cerebral assassin.
Now let me stop you there, Triple H. Yes, a new dawn sets on a brave new world, and I set upon this dawn to bring you good fortune. But alas, I have seen this new world, and she has given me her wisdom, her vision.
Triple H, Big Show and Haku look at each other, bamboozled, befuddled, completely discombobulated.
What are you talking about?
Asked Triple H to Raven.
Her vision, Hunter, her wisdom. She has shown me the past, and she delivers unto me her future. Big Show, 3 days ago on Raw, you were successful in beating Latino Heat, thanks to my help. Or rather, her help. She calls upon me once more. In fact, Big Show, she calls upon me and you to defeat the last of the Radicals. And that's why, Big Show, me and you should team up tonight to take on Perry Saturn and Dean Malenko in a tag team match.
Triple H and Haku look at Big Show, who thinks, and then nods in agreement. Maybe Raven's words make sense, as much as he talks in tongues.
Has she shown you anything else? Does she show you victory for our team at Fully Loaded? That vision isn't clear, Triple H, but what is clear, in order for the pieces to fit the puzzle, the new world tells me that our tag team match against Saturn and Malenko should be the next match in this best of 3. Because she foresees a victory for Raven and Big Show. A great victory, in fact. A victory with her disciples at her side.
Triple H and Haku continue to be confused as Raven walk off, but Big Show smiles, as if he's worked out what Raven means by her disciples.
I get it,
he shouts in glee as he walks off, with Triple H and Haku following him. Michael Cole and Taz talk about the 2 matches added to tonight's show in this best of 3 series, involving Triple H's team against the team of Chris Jericho and the Radicals. First, Raven and Big Show will face off against Perry Saturn and Dean Malenko in a tag team match, and that will be the next match in this best of 3 series tonight, with the final match being Triple H going one-on-one with Chris Jericho. A great match, thinks Michael Cole. But Taz mentions that the tag team match is a must-win for Raven and Big Show, if indeed Triple H's team don't want to face the ramifications of Linda McMahon's extra stipulations for the 10-man Tag Team Elimination match at Fully Loaded. The final 2 matches of the best of 3 series, as well as Bull Nakano vs Jacqueline, still to come tonight, but the attention is now turned to the next match. Speaking of ramifications and stipulations, there's a chance for either Albert or Spike Dudley to score a victory in their upcoming singles match, with the winner being able to choose a stipulation for their teammates. Albert on behalf of the Challengers X Factor, and Spike Dudley on behalf of his brothers, the champions, the Dudley Boys, ahead of the WWF Tag Team title match this Sunday. Albert comes down to the ring without his X Factor buddies. He must be confident going into his match with an opponent less than half his size. Lil Spike Dudley also comes out to the ring on his own. His confidence certainly matches his heart, but Taz believes Spike's confidence is surpassed only by his foolishness. There's no way he can go one-on-one against Albert on his own. Michael Cole replies by asking, how many times have we thought of the scenario where Spike is about to get destroyed in the ring, only to pull out a surprise victory? As the saying goes, it's not the size of the Dudley dog in a fight, it's the size of the fight in the Dudley dog. It seems, at least certainly in the early moments of the match, that Taz was right to believe that there's no way Lil Spike Dudley can overcome the might of Albert. It's just too easy for X Factor's enforcer to take out the runt of the Dudley litter. There must be a particular part of backstage roaring in laughter, as X-Pac and Just Incredible must be enjoying every moment of what's happening in the ring. In fact, surely the challengers for the tag team titles must be thinking about what stipulation to give to their opponents in 3 days' time. If Spike Dudley won't stay down for the 3 count, then at least Albert can enjoy toying with his opponent by dealing damage. but even if there's a modicum of a comeback from Spike, it has little effect. A crossbody and the big bad bald Albert does nothing at all.
"He might have better luck taking down a brick wall, Cole,"
says Taz. But again, even after Albert goes for another pin and doesn't get the 3 count, he can continue the onslaught. And even if Spike does try to fight back, for instance escaping a throw by elbows to the back of Albert's head, this seems only to enrage 1/3 of X Factor, who counters into a sit-out powerbomb. Even Michael Cole thinks, "Stop the pain!" But Spike isn't ready to give up just yet. Albert is relentless. He knows that it's only a matter of time before he gets the victory, but he's having more fun beating up Spike rather than getting the win. The Enforcer throws his opponent around the ring like a ragdoll and decides to go for a leg lock. Maybe Albert feels so confident he can rip Spike's leg off. Both Bubba and Devon must be concerned about what they could be up against when it comes to the tag team title match at Fully Loaded. Albert takes the fight outside the ring. Spike again makes the mistake of trying to take out his opponent with a crossbody, but it seems the move is as effective as being hit by a feather. Albert responds with a clothesline, and then picks Spike up and throws him into the steps. The Enforcer celebrates the destruction left in his path. A count-out victory would be good enough for Albert here, but he's not going to win that way, as he throws a little Spike back into the ring. The momentum takes a surprise twist as Spike Dudley prevents a body punch, and then jumps off the ropes to hit a springboard tornado DDT. Surely this couldn't be enough, could it? The referee comes down to the mat and makes the count, but doesn't even make 2. Spike's got a long way to go, it seems, if he's to defeat Albert. But it seems the adrenaline rush is starting to kick in as Spike continues the attack, throwing Albert into the ropes, bouncing his head off the top turnbuckle, and then somehow grabs the body of the Enforcer, throwing Albert shoulder first through the ropes into the turnbuckle post. Albert sits at the corner as Spike runs around the ring to gather speed and hit a cannonball. Again, only a 1 count, and now Albert's enraged, firing back with a punch, which leads to a German suplex. Albert doesn't let go as he picks Spike up and hits a nasty looking lariat. Albert's had enough and he wants to put this match to rest, but Spike kicks out with a pin at 2. Is Albert starting to feel the pressure? X Factor's big man signals that enough is enough now as he waits for Spike to get up and hits what looks like a lifting reverse STO. But Albert doesn't go for the pin as he knows he's back in control. But he's not noticed Spike behind him, crawling towards him, leading to Albert turning around and walking into a roll-up. That surely can't be enough to get the job done though. Can it?
"Somebody call Rapid City PD, Cole," says Taz, "because Spike just scored the biggest steal of his life."
An unbelievable one-sided affair. Albert pretty much had this match from the get-go, but it seems that X Factor's Enforcer played around with his food a little too much, and now it's come back to bite him. Bubba and Devon come down to the ring and hug Spike. Not only has he survived, he's won this match, and it means that Spike will get to choose a stipulation for the tag team title match in 3 days' time. All 3 Dudleys are now in the ring. X-Pac and Just Incredible shout at Albert at ringside for not winning what must be surely the easiest one-on-one match Albert will ever have. Spike picks up a mic as he's about to announce a stipulation now. There can be only one stipulation for the Dudley boys. It has to be. Bubba Ray and Devon tried to influence the crowd by chanting "Table! Table! Table!" to Rapid City. But there's no need for that though. It seems this is what Rapid City wants and expects. But Spike tries to calm down the crowd. "Oh, wait a minute! Just before I make the announcement you all want to hear, I just want to make you, Bubba and Devon, aware that it was I that won this match just now, and therefore it is I that gets to choose a stipulation. Now, you would expect me to choose the obvious, but I've actually given the idea of a stipulation much deliberation. So, how about the Dudley boys defend the tag team titles against X Factor in a political debate?" It seems that the cheers from the crowd earlier have now turned to crickets. Even the smiles have been wiped off the faces of Bubba and Devon. Michael Cole and Taz are perplexed as well. Okay. I sense that the political debate is probably not a good idea. Wait, I've got it. How about my brothers take on X-Pac and Just Incredible in a pillow fight? Huh? The crickets have now turned to boos. Even Bubba looks like he's ready to raise a fist and aim it at the faces of his little brother. But Spike breaks into laughter and gives up the facade. "Ah, hell! Who am I kidding? X-Pac, Just Incredible, you better get ready to go through wood this Sunday because they're fully loaded. It'll be the Dudley boys against X Factor in a tables match." Oh, A brief moment of panic in South Dakota as Spike gives the impression he considered other options for stipulation. But Spike's rib is done with. Bubba's bemused visage is replaced with that of joy. The Dudley boys celebrate once more with the crowd, knowing that the tag team title stipulation is now official for Fully Loaded. The stipulation is added to the match graphic, and Michael Cole and Taz hype up the tag team title match in Las Vegas, as the Dudley boys will defend the belts against X Factor in a tables match. Michael Cole clarifies that in order for a tag team to win, they must put both members of the opposing tag team through the tables. X Factor get their long-awaited tag team title rematch since they lost the belts to Devon and Bubba Ray back at the Queen's Request pay-per-view in June, but they won't be relishing the fact that, as a result of Spike's victory moments earlier, X-Pac and Just Incredible are going to have to beat the Dudley boys at their own game. Devon and Bubba Ray are masters of the tables, so this surely looks like a foregone conclusion, even though we're 3 days away from Fully Loaded. X-Factor will be hoping Lady Luck is on their side when they take on the Dudleys for the gold in the tables match at Caesar's Palace.
Yeah, that's right!
Austin yells at Deborah backstage.
If it hadn't been for Vince McMahon, I'd have kicked Rocky's ass all over Rapid City.
Deborah gives the WWF champion a look as if to suggest, really?
Well, I guess I got the night off to relax. Come on, Deborah, let's go.
But Austin turns around the corner and bumps into The Undertaker. It seems your surprise has caught both off guard.
Hey, watch where you're going.
The Undertaker laughs and replies,
Watch where I'm going? You're right, Austin. Maybe I should watch where I'm going, just like I should watch my boot going up your ass. Hey, I don't take kindly to your words, not in front of my wife. You show some class in front of Deborah.
But Deborah isn't too fond of Austin using her name in this confrontation.
Alright, Austin, I'll lay off the beating right now. What do you say you and me go at it tonight? You and me in the ring, one more time, for old time's sake.
Austin is taken aback by the challenge, but seeing as he's trying to prove his point about class, it seems Austin is left with no choice.
Alright, you and me in the ring tonight, but not for the WWF title. I got a big championship match this Sunday. Austin, don't worry about Sunday. You better worry about tonight, boy.
Undertaker walks off, with Austin having a smirk on his face, and then turning round to Deborah.
You see, Deborah, if you hadn't been here, I'd have whipped the Undertaker's ass right here, right now.
Oh, really? Deborah then walks off, leaving Austin on his own.
Hell yeah,
he says to himself. So tonight's main event is confirmed. Stone Cold Steve Austin goes one-on-one with The Undertaker in a non-title match. The supposed toughest SOB in the WWF thought he got away with having a night off, only for his chivalry to be tested right in front of Deborah. Now the Texas Rattlesnake finds himself in a match against a dead man. The two have quite the history between them, but Austin is going to have to give up the chivalry though if he's going to be able to square up to the American Badass tonight. It's now time for the second match of the best of three, and it's a match that the team of Raven and Big Show need to win if they are to keep the stipulation of Jericho and the Radicals being fired if they lose the 10-man Tag Team Elimination match at Fully Loaded alive. But Triple H will also be hoping his teammates for this Sunday can win in a few moments, because it gives a chance for the game to get his revenge on Chris Jericho, especially after Y2J's comments about Stephanie this past week on Raw. Triple H picks up a mic before the Radicals come out.
So it seems that sweet dear Linda has decided to shake things up for our 10-man Tag Team Elimination match at Fully Loaded. Now, as I said on Raw, you can't beat the house unless you play the game. And let's get one thing straight, you jackasses. I am the house because I am the game, and I am that damn good. Belinda, you go and make all the changes you want, because as the saying goes, the house always wins. Sure, you may have blindsided us with your announcement early in the night, And with Benoit beating Regal, let's be honest, that's just nothing more than beginner's luck. And Jericho, Radicals, from this moment on, between now and Vegas, your luck has run out, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, before this tag team match gets underway, I'd like to welcome the newest member to our team. So Rapid City, get off your lazy asses and show some respect to Raven.
Raven takes the mic and explains his actions for attacking Eddie Guerrero on Raw, leading to Triple H's team being victorious over Eddie, Jericho, Taker and The Rock in an 8-man tag team main event.
I used to hate everyone. I used to hate this world. I used to hate the society we live in. And at times, I even used to hate myself. But as I made my name in the World Wrestling Federation, I started to turn a corner. Or so I thought. I became your hardcore champion. I went to the greatest WrestleMania of all time as your hardcore champion. And all your eyes were on me as I soared in the WWF. But for what? Where did that get me? I reacquainted with one of my few old buddies, Rob Van Dam, and I asked for, time and time again, a title shot. And where did that get me? You see, I continue to stew around in a civilization stuck in the past. A civilization that chooses someone like The Rock to be the representative of the people. A world that chooses someone like Rob Van Dam to be the face of hardcore. A society that chooses someone like Eddie Guerrero to be a force of good despite lying, cheating and stealing. And a regime that chooses someone like Linda McMahon to be nothing more than a bureaucrat and a puppet. That's not a civilization I want, it's not a world I like, and it's not a society that I want to live in. And then the vision came. She arrived. A new civilization, a new world, a new society, and a place where the rings of the Raven can fly freely. And my place in this new civilization is welcomed. No longer do I have to live in your civilization. No longer do I have to live in your world. No longer do I have to live in your society. And now that she has called onto me, the question is no longer, what about me? What about Raven? That question has finally been answered. Because it's all about me. It's all about Raven. And she has called onto me for my first task. To aid Triple H's quest in destroying the last remaining remnants of an old bygone era. That of WCW. So Sanin and Malenko, come on out now. Because your time in the WWF is up. As we fly towards a new civilization in the World Wrestling Federation. Quote the Raven, nevermore.
Out come Perry Saturn and Dean Malenko for the tag team match, and they're joined by Chris Jericho coming down to the ring. Maybe Y2J suspects something afoul. Maybe it's because Triple H is with Big Show and Raven, and perhaps Jericho wants to even the odds in this upcoming tag team match. But it turns out it won't matter, as the referee has ordered Chris Jericho and Triple H to the back. Jericho has no problems with the referee's decision. Even Triple H has no problems with the decision. The tag team match gets underway.
What is this civilization that Raven keeps talking about, Taz?
Asks Cole in commentary, as Raven starts the match by taking a fight to Perry Saturn.
I don't know, Cole, says Taz in response. I've never been accustomed to Raven's philosophies. I don't think anybody has an idea of what Raven is talking about.
Raven continues the attack in the ring, as Cole seems rather interested in these philosophies of the former ECW champion.
Well, what do you think Raven meant by she, Taz? Is the civilization a woman? Is the woman real? Cole, you continue to speculate all you want, but you're wasting your time. I suggest you concentrate on the match.
But Michael Cole isn't done.
Well, just one more question, Taz. What do you make of the comment earlier by this female civilization and these so-called disciples? Cole, Raven talks a lot of gibberish. Don't ever take any of Raven's words on board. Not even a pinch of salt. Otherwise your head will explode, just as many of Raven's opponents' heads did in ECW.
Taz's final remarks have brought Michael Cole back to the real world, and more importantly, the action in the ring. Whilst Michael Cole has been conveying his thoughts to Taz about Raven's philosophies in the opening minute of this match, it seems this new civilization, female civilization, she, Destiny, whoever or whatever it is, has displayed renewed vigour in the man from the Bowery. Raven has dominated this match against Perry Saturn so far, but a pin isn't enough, so he makes a tag to Big Show. Malenko on the outside, watching Raven getting the better of Perry, fears the worst when a 7-foot giant gets in the ring and takes matters into his own hands. A DDT and Big Show allows Saturn to recuperate and hopefully mount some offense in this match. The DDT has worked, and now Perry finds himself in control over the giant at ringside. Perry's now in control, but he's also aware as Raven drops from the ring apron to attack Saturn. But Perry sees the attack by Raven incoming, and Saturn is quicker to respond by taking out Raven with a clothesline. The member of the Radicals gets back in the ring. A count-out victory will be enough here to win this best of 3 by 2-0. But Big Show has enough time to compose himself, shake off the cobwebs, and get in the ring before the count of 10. Throwing Saturn into the ropes, Big Show replies with a clothesline to the oncoming Perry before making a tag to Raven. But Saturn, who's been a legal man for his team since this match started, has enough to crawl to the ropes and make the tag to Malenko. For all of Raven's offense earlier, he can't prevent the man of 1,000 holds, or as it looks right now, a man of 1,000 strikes. The ECW alumnus feels the need to take a breather on the outside before coming back into the ring. Malenko throws his opponent into the ropes, looking to double team Raven with Saturn, but Raven manages to elbow his way out of the predicament and responds by grabbing Malenko, squishing him in the corner and throwing him on the mat like a discarded toothpick. No doubt Raven must feel like the civilization, or whoever, is showing her light at this match. Malenko isn't able to make one of his 1,000 holds on his opponent, as Raven is able to do what Malenko could not do a few moments ago, by throwing the Iceman into the corner and tag the Giant in for a double team move. Both then Irish whip Malenko into the ropes, and then throw Dean over their heads. It's Lisa the Giant going for the pin, but Big Show's only managed to get a 1 count. Big Show won't feel too bad if he can't get the victory though. He can demonstrate his mass size some more, following up with a long-standing suplex on the man of 1,000 holds, only for Malenko to get out of the move. But Dean can't get the better of the Big Show either, as the Giant makes a tag back to Raven. Raven thinks he's the one stalking his prey, but he doesn't expect the Iceman, who's back up and is able to pick up Raven. Malenko then drops his opponent down for the Brainbuster. This surely wasn't part of Raven's destiny. Raven's down and out. The referee's about to make the pin. Big Show thinks the worst and he climbs over the top rope to prevent the count. He's done it just in time, but he's also taken out the referee in the process. Cole wonders if that was intentional, but the pondering soon stops as out come Haku and Regal on stage. They're gesturing to the crowd. Malenko attacks Raven again and knocks Big Show out of the way as Haku and Regal remain on stage. In fact, they've now called the Eye of the Iceman. Triple H! Screams Taz and Cole as the game comes to ringside and grabs Saturn's leg to knock him off the ring apron. The referee's still down. Malenko is still focused on Regal and Haku as Triple H picks up a sledgehammer. He tells Saturn to get up, who's now up, and Triple H drives the sledgehammer into Perry's chest. Malenko turns around to see what the game has done, and he's telling Triple H to get in the ring and fight him. But Raven's back up, and the referee has come round too. Raven hits the Raven effect. A successful game plan by the game. Raven goes for the pin as the referee makes the count. Taz then tells Cole that this might have been the game's game plan, but maybe the disciples of Raven Civilization, whatever, may have indeed been the difference in this match. The disciples being the distractions from Haku and William Regal and the attack from Triple H. So much for Raven's philosophies not being in the head of Taz there. But whatever the case may be, Raven and Big Show have won. That equals this best of 3 tonight at 1 apiece, and it means that we will get to see Triple H take on Chris Jericho tonight. But does the stipulation of Jericho and the Radicals being fired if they lose at Fully Loaded remain? Or will Linda be adding extra stipulations to the 10-man Tag Team Elimination match in 3 days' time? We'll find out later. Meanwhile, Raven celebrates with the 4 superstars he'll be teaming with in Vegas, as he can be heard screaming, "It's all about me! It's all about Raven!" The Rock is in the parking lot, heading out of the arena, and even Michael Cole is now convinced that the People's Champion might not be getting the last word before SmackDown ends. How can he, when he won't be in the building? But before the Great One gets into his limo, Mick Foley catches up to The Rock, seemingly out of breath again from running.
Hey, Rock! Rock! I swear, did everybody start to walk faster or something? I can't seem to keep up.
Foley's trying to catch his breath when The Rock responds.
Okay, Mick, stop. Breathe in. Breathe out. In. Out. There. That better?
It seems to have worked. Foley's caught his breath back, even though he's not too fond of what appears to be The Rock's sarcasm.
Very funny. Listen, Rock, are you just gonna walk out tonight on the people? Especially the people right here in Rapid City? Now, I've never known you to do that. I've never known the People's Champion to just give in to Vince McMahon's demands and walk out. Whether Vince will be in the corner of Austin or not and fully loaded, are you gonna let Vinny get to you before your big WWF title match against the Rattlesnake? Mick Foley, after everything you and The Rock have gone through, no DQ matches, halftime heat, last man standing, the Rock and Sock connection, and even that jabroni that tried to come between us once. That jabroni, what was his name? His name was... It doesn't... I'm just kidding, Foley. No, really, what was his name? His name was Al.
Al? That jabroni that tried to come between us, his name was Al? He seems to have got a little laugh out of the hardcore legend as The Rock continues.
But with everything that you and The Rock have been through, Mick Foley, the Great One would like to think that you, of all people, would know The Rock better than anyone else. Do you really think The Rock is just gonna give up on not having the final word tonight? Do you think The Rock is just gonna walk out of the people and quit?
Well, we did have that I Quit match a few years back, and you didn't say I quit.
Exactly. See you in Vegas, Mick.
The Rock walks off as Foley responds,
Yeah, see you, Rocky.
And then thinks to himself,
he didn't quit in that I Quit match. No, wait, I didn't quit. That was a dub recording. Hey, Rock, wait.
The Undertaker's with Kane in the back as the Deadman talks about his match against Stone Cold Steve Austin in tonight's main event.
Now listen, brother, I know we've had our issues as of late, but tonight I get to take out my frustrations on that redneck Steve Austin. I need to know, just for one night, that you and me can be on the same page. I need you to come to ringside and watch my back against that psychotic rattlesnake.
But Kane's head tilt gives the impression he's unsure as to why The Undertaker wants a big red machine at his side.
What's the matter, big brother? Are you afraid you're gonna get your ass handed to you by Austin? Are you afraid you can't get the job done tonight?
Are you trying to intentionally piss me off? Do you know what, brother? I'm starting to get a little sick and tired from the lack of respect you've been showing me lately. I want you to come down to ringside and watch my back. But whilst you're there, you can also watch me bring back the dark side of the dead man when I lay out a beating on that Texas rattlesnake. Diablos ready, Kane. Diablos ready.
Rikishi overhears Kane and Taker talk about Austin and inserts himself into the conversation.
Now, forgive me for interrupting, but did I hear you mention Stone Cold Steve Austin? Rikishi asks. And what if I did? What's it to you? Hey, I didn't come here to front. I just want to make you aware that whether the Stone Cold Steve Austin, then as far as I'm concerned, there's also Triple H. Now look, it's because of Triple H that I'm the Intercontinental Champion. But if it wasn't for Triple H when I faced Stone Cold for the WWF title 2 months ago, then I'd be standing here as WWF Champion. I know Austin and Triple H have had their issues as of late, but as Austin says, DTA, don't trust anybody.
Taker and Kane have duly noted Rikishi's comments, but it seems that don't trust anybody comment may also apply to each other. Edge and Christian then interrupts Rikishi, Taker and Kane, both with words for all three.
Wait, if it wasn't for Triple H, I'd be WWF Champion right now?
Edge says to Rikishi, mocking him.
Give me a break. The reason why you're not WWF Champion is because you got your ass kicked by Austin. And the reason why you won't be Intercontinental Champion after this Sunday is because you're going to get your ass kicked by me.
Christian continues the conversation.
That's right, Edge.
And as for you brothers of Haynastication, he says to Taker and Kane, the only reason you're not challenging for the tag team titles at Fully Loaded is because of me. Yeah! Christian and Edge high-five each other as if they made some great accomplishment. But their reasons haven't exactly gone down well with the trio, and it's about to get worse as Seth comes up behind the former tag team champions. Okay, and the reason why the two of you aren't getting out of Rapid City alive right now is because all four of us are gonna kick your ass. Edge and Christian have a nervous look at the group and run off whilst Tess laughs. But seeing Rikishi has snapped the 6'7" Canadian out of the laughter ahead of the triple threat match for the Intercontinental title match in 3 days' time. All kidding aside, Tess tells the Samoan, Edge might not be kicking your ass in Las Vegas, but I'll be kicking both your asses, and then I'm taking your title. So keep it nice and shiny for me this Sunday, Rikishi, because I'm leaving as the new Intercontinental Champion. See you at Caesar's Palace. Tess walks off. Rikishi turns and looks at Undertaker and Kane and repeats Austin's phrase. DTA! Rikishi walks off as Undertaker then spots Austin from a distance, pacing around, and tells Kane whilst focusing his gaze on Austin, Diablos Reddit, Diablos Reddit. The final match in this best of 3 tonight between Triple H's team and Chris Jericho's team is now, as the game, accompanied by his wife Stephanie, comes down to the ring. If Triple H can beat Y2J in a few moments, then the stipulation remains that Chris Jericho and the Radicals will have to beat Triple H's team in a 5-on-5 elimination tag team match this Sunday if they want to keep their jobs. But Triple H will surely be loving the fact that he can be the one to keep the stipulation the same if he wins. But also, it'll be all the more sweeter that he can do it at the expense of the 2001 King of the Ring winner. There's certainly no love lost between the game and the Ayatollah of Rock and Roller. The same could also be said for the $1 Billion Princess and the Ayatollah of Rock and Roller. Triple H picks up a mic before Jericho comes out.
You know, it must be painful to be the Radicals and Chris Jericho right about now. Your luck ended the moment Linda McMahon came out and made this best of 3 announcement. And sure, you might have got unlucky with Benoit's victory over William Regal tonight. But your luck has run out, and now the house will not rest until it has all the chips, or in this case, has claimed your careers. So Jericho, come on out, and Rapid City, you can get a quick preview of the house beating the players this Sunday, because now you bear witness to the game destroying the king of the world.
This might not be the same Chris Jericho who went the whole month in June, winning every single match, culminating in being crowned the 2001 King of the Ring. But he does continue to have the heart of a lion, and even if there's a chance that he could no longer be wrestling for the World Wrestling Federation Sunday night, Y2J isn't going down that easily. Jericho has the mic too. It seems the Ayatollah of Rock and Roller has some stuff he wants to get off his chest before this final match in the best of 3 starts.
Painful! Painful! Good God, Triple H, would you please shut the hell up? The only thing that's painful is you, Triple H, having to give another boring, dull, mediocre promo that somehow manages to poke Rapid City and the rest of the world to sleep. And after Monday Night Raw, I didn't think it was possible to get older than Stephanie McMahon after seeing the greys on her hair. But after hearing you speak for the gazillionth time tonight, I feel like I've aged 50 years. I think Rapid City has aged 50 years too. So Stephanie, I have to apologise for my words in Raw, because truth be told, you're not the one who's old, because the person who's really old is your husband. And after I'm done beating on you, Triple H, you won't make it to Fully Loaded, because I'll be sending your ass into retirement, jerky.
Tension's about to boil as Jericho slides into the ring. These two have quite the past, as Michael Cole tells the audience. But Taz asks if Cole's referring to Jericho and Triple H, or Jericho and Stephanie. And funny enough, it's the interruption of Stephanie which leads Cole to ponder the latter. The billion-dollar princess sees her husband Triple H in trouble as Jericho wastes no time in going for the triple powerbomb. A club to the back of Y2J interrupts proceedings, and Cole wonders that should be a DQ. Jericho should win, and Y2J and the Radicals should be victorious in this best of three. But at the discretion of the referee, the match will be allowed to continue, but Stephanie will have no more involvement in this match. But it seems the interference has had little effect on the match so far, as the 2001 King of the Ring continues his attacks in the game. Following a monkey flip by Jericho to Triple H, the Cerebral Assassin feels the need to take a breather, but Jericho's not going to halt the momentum for the sake of a timeout. He comes out the ring and walks around the apron, sizing up Triple H to hit a double axe handle. The fans know Jericho's in control, and Jericho acknowledges the fans by letting them know he knows he's the one in control. Perhaps the pandering to the crowd wasn't such a good idea, as the missed enziguri and Triple H leads to the game picking up Y2J for a suplex. But that's as far as the Cerebral Assassin will get, as a reversed Irish whip sends Triple H to the barricade. Jericho is going for it all here, as he gets back in the ring, climbs the top turnbuckle, and successfully hits a diving crossbody. Again, Jericho gesturing to the crowd. The guy has no fear at all, it seems. Throwing Triple H to the other side of the ringside, Jericho enters the ring again and waits for Triple H to get up at ringside near the entrance ramp. And again, Jericho pulling out all the stops, Y2J diving over the top rope to take out his opponent. Cole is enjoying Jericho in action, but Taz thinks that the Ayatollah Rock and Roller is reckless, and all it takes is one failed dive for the pendulum to swing in Triple H's favour. Does Jericho need to work hard, or work smart? Meanwhile, back in the ring, Triple H and Jericho are taking it in turns with right hands and chops. Triple H gets a few punches in and gestures for Jericho to retaliate, which Jericho does with a couple of right hands of his own. But then a chop from the left hand of the game leads the self-proclaimed King of the World to Irish whip his opponent into the corner. And then as the former WWF champion teetering on the ring apron, leading to another Jericho aerial attack, a springboard dropkick, sending Triple H to the outside. But it seems Taz's argument about working smarter is about to be proved right, when Triple H on the outside ducks a Jericho grab, only to counter into a superplex from the ring to the ground outside of the ring, with Jericho taking the fall. Throwing his opponent back into the ring, the game continues his offense with right hand strikes and another suplex. It's now Triple H climbing up the ropes, as a double axe handle from the second rope sends Jericho back down to the mat. Whatever Jericho can do, Triple H can do too, thinks Taz, as Triple H makes the first cover of the night, but it seems we've got a long ways to go before this match ending. Jericho's now the one retreating, but again, working smarter and not harder has lulled Triple H into a false sense of security, when the game slides out of the ring, only to be attacked by Jericho. A chop, atomic drop, and then snake eyes onto the ring apron sees the pendulum of momentum swing back in Y2J's favour, before the Ayatollah of Rock and Roller throws Triple H back into the ring. But the game is back up before Y2J is, and an Irish whip by Triple H leads to a jumping knee to the face of Chris Jericho. More offense with the right hand, but wrenching at the arm of Y2J, possibly looking for a submission, only allows Jericho to fight back with blows to the game's stomach and break free of the hold. Y2J's confidence is certainly showing, jumping forearm after jumping forearm, cheering with the fans of Rapid City, and then a third jumping forearm. Jericho goes for the pin, but Triple H has thrown him off before the referee can come down and slap a 1 count on the mat. More Jericho offense, right hand after right hand after right hand. A jumping arm breaker follows. The King of the World then goes for another pin. Again, Triple H kicks out before a 1 count is announced. Multiple forearm shots and then multiple right hands. Now Jericho is going for multiple right kicks to the game, followed by a Hurricane Rana. It's as if Y2J can sense victory, but his right hand is ducked by Triple H, who falls with a right hand of his own. The pace is slowed down when, following the double A spinebuster, Triple H goes for the submission, the deathlock. That might help disable Jericho's ideas of any more high-flying attacks if he can't even stand on his own 2 feet. Chris Jericho lays down and goes to the corner as Triple H gestures towards the fans of Rapid City. It's as if he feeds off the boos. But Y2J gets up and explodes out of the corner with a clothesline, and then hits another clothesline in the game. He then ducks a Triple H right hand and runs out of the ropes to hit a missile dropkick on his opponent as the King of the World screams, "Come on, baby!" An Irish whip into the ropes with Jericho responding with another head belly to belly in the game. Jericho goes for a pin. The referee comes down and makes a count, but only just past the count of 1. Jericho continues the foot stomps as the game tries to get back up. A kick in the gut. Could this be? Triple H has Jericho under his legs and he's hooking both arms. "Oh, there it is, Cole!" screams Taz as the game hits the pedigree. The referee comes down to the mat and makes the count, but Jericho's kicked out after 2. Incredible! "Hey, what the heck was that for?" Cole is incensed after Triple H's attack on the referee, who's down. Triple H hits another flying knee on Jericho and then slides out of the ring. Oh, he's going for the sledgehammer again. Cole is screaming how unfair this is as Triple H slides back in the ring, only for Chris Jericho to be the first to attack with right kicks and then a jawbreaker. The sledgehammer is out of the hands of the game. Wait! Walls of Jericho! Walls of Jericho! And the referee's now back up too. Jericho's submission cinched in. The referee asks the game if that's enough, but the Cerebral Assassin is able to rig out of the submission. Triple H is the one who's incensed as he picks Jericho up. Right hand after right hand after right hand, and then continues. Right hand after left hand after right hand. But Jericho stops the onslaught with a knee to the gut, a chop, a left kick, and then a Russian leg sweep. But Y2J has stopped his onslaught because he's distracted. He's seen who's at the top of the stage. It's William Regal and Haku again, gesturing towards the crowd. Are we about to see a repeat of the second match in this best of 3? Another knee to the face and another double A spine buster by Triple H as he gestures towards the crowd. Surely the end is near as he's signalling for another pedigree. Things are about to get worse. There's no way Y2J can escape now as Big Show has come out and he's at one end of ringside. And now Raven has come out from the crowd and he's at the adjacent side of the ring near the commentary table. But out come the Radicals, Dean Malenko and Perry Saturn, to deal with Haku and Regal. Malenko comes running down and chops at the back leg of Regal, leaving Saturn to throw a few haymakers at Haku. Triple H has put Jericho down as he sees what's happening at the top of the entrance ramp. Taz is screaming at Cole, "Benoit! Benoit!" as Benoit's come out from the crowd towards Big Show. Triple H can only watch as Big Show's in a crossface submission. "Hey, it's Eddie! It's Eddie!" screams Cole. Arturo he hits Raven in the back with a chair. Now all of a sudden it's the Radicals surrounding the game as Triple H turns around only to walk into an enziguri by Chris Jericho. He goes for the pin. The referee makes the count. The Radicals, Michael Cole and Rapid City look on in hope. Talk about turnabout. Just when it looked like all hope was lost for Y2J and the Radicals, it was thanks to the Radicals equalising that has led Jericho to win tonight. The game's game plan, a repeat of the second match in this best of 3 tonight, was outdone by Jericho and the Radicals' game plan. They must have sensed this coming. Michael Cole brings up Taz's argument earlier of working harder or working smarter by asking the rhetorical question, why work hard or work smart? When in the case of Chris Jericho just now, you can work hard and work smart, because that's what the King of the Ring for 2001 has done just now. The 5 celebrate as Jericho and the Radicals have won this best of 3 tonight, and surely now we are to hear from Linda McMahon about what the extra stipulations are to be added to the 5-on-5 Tag Team Elimination match at Fully Loaded. On right and cue, out comes Linda McMahon to make her announcement. Triple H is still recovering outside the ring, as Chris Jericho and the Radicals are in the ring, eagerly awaiting for what Linda McMahon has to say. "Congratulations, Jericho, Radicals! You put up a hard-fought performance in that last match, and as a result, you have won tonight's best of 3. Now, just before I tell you what the stipulation will be, Jericho, Benoit, Guerrero, Malenko, Saturn, may I remind you that the stipulation of, should you lose your match at Fully Loaded, then you'll be fired, remains. However, this stipulation now not only applies to you guys, but as a result of your victory tonight, will now also apply to the team of Triple H, Big Show, Haku, William Regal, and Raven." "Oh my!" screams Michael Cole. "But wait, there's more," adds Linda McMahon. "No, I think, as much as there is punishment for the losing team, There should therefore be a reward for the winning team. And again, this applies to all of you, because the winning team at Fully Loaded will be entitled to a future WWF title shot of that superstar's choosing. So good luck to all of you guys in Las Vegas. The announcement has been made. Jericho and the Radicals now face Triple H's team with the stipulations on an even keel. But Triple H is irate knowing that he could very well be out of a job in 3 days' time as a result of a stipulation made by his own mother-in-law. The updated stipulations are now added to the match graphic for Caesar's Palace. Truly all or nothing now in this 10-man tag team elimination match. The winners all entitled to a WWF title shot of their choosing whenever, and the losers will be fired from the WWF. 3 days to prepare for both teams, and one has to think, given how this best of 3 contest ended tonight, that the momentum is surely on the side of the Radicals and Chris Jericho as we head towards Las Vegas. Triple H, Big Show, Haku, William Regal and Raven take on the team of Dean Malenko, Perry Saturn, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero and Chris Jericho in a 10-man tag team elimination match. The winning team in this match will be the first team to eliminate all of their opponents. It really is do or die for both teams at Fully Loaded. Stephen Richards is in the back with Jerry Lynn and Al Snow, talking about the 6-pack challenge for the Hardcore title this Sunday.
That who he got on Raw was amazing. It just goes to show it shouldn't be all about RVD. It should all be about us,
Stephen tells Jerry and Al, who both agree.
Now listen, when you guys helped me win that Hardcore Championship,
Jerry Lynn and Al Snow are shocked at the statement from Richards.
When we help you? Says Al. You do realise this is a 6-pack challenge? Every man for himself. First pin or submission anywhere in the building wins, right? Look, says Stephen, I appreciate what you guys have done against Rob Van Dam and the APA, but the only way we can succeed in morality is by me beating Rob Van Dam for the Hardcore title, and then I shall bring in a new title, a title of class, a title of morality, a title of...
The three are interrupted by Van Dam, Farouk and Bradshaw as Van Dam speaks.
Look, Al, Jerry, I know that you might be a part of this big Stephen Richards morality crusade, dude, whatever it is, but don't you find it a little hypocritical that for all of Stephen's morality, that the only way you could beat us on Raw was in a hardcore match? Also, how much morality can one person have if he needs 2 other people to do his bidding to win his hardcore title? Come on, dude.
Jerry Lynn and Al Snow look at Stephen Richards and then both walk off, leaving Richards alone with RVD and the APA.
Boy, you got yourself in a predicament now!
Bradshaw laughs, knowing he could beat Stephen Richards to a pulp. But RVD prevents Bradshaw from attacking.
Hey man, why don't we be moral and leave Stephen Richards to think on his actions? After all, in 3 days' time, we get to morally do whatever we want with him.
Bradshaw acquiesces as the three stare at Stephen Richards and walk off. Stephen being left on his own to wonder the hurt that he's going to be in for in that 6-pack challenge for the Hardcore Championship in Las Vegas. Medal plays across Rapid City, which means the Olympic gold medalist is making his way down to the ring. Kurt Angle must be counting down the days till his street fight with Shane McMahon at Fully Loaded. If Angle wins, he will get a future WCW title shot, but if he loses to Shane McMahon, then he must join WCW. If it wasn't bad enough that the WCW owner cost Kurt Angle a chance at the WWF Championship, as well as costing him the 2001 King of the Ring, then it certainly didn't help matters with Shane McMahon coming in to interrupt Kurt Angle's match with Jeff Hardy on Raw this past Monday, costing the American hero yet another match. Angle picks up a mic.
Alright people, I'm not really in the mood tonight. It's bad enough having to be here in South Dakota, that's one thing. But it's a whole other thing that I'm here in a place called Rapid City. I mean, if there's one thing that I agree with, it's the name Rapid City. Because it's the one thing I want to do right now. I want to rapidly get my ass out of here. And Shane, you little punk,
You cost me another match this time on Raw. Well, I'm not waiting till Fully Loaded to kick your ass in the street. So get on out here, because I'm going to show you how street I can be. Oh, it's true. It's damn true. Shane responds to the challenge. He may indeed be the WCW owner, but Shane isn't afraid of mixing things up in the ring too. But Taz wonders if this is a wise idea for Shane to come down and brawl with Kurt ahead of their match at Fully Loaded in 3 days' time. Oddly enough, as soon as Shane gets in the ring, Angle then slides out. Michael Cole asks what on earth is Kurt doing. Angle can be seen walking up the ramp, gesturing for the WCW owner to follow him. Shane agrees and leaves the ring. Is this a wise idea?
I'm telling you, Cole, says Taz. Angle's leaving because he wants to rapidly get his ass out of here. Ha ha!
Angle runs down the parking lot, with Shane trying to catch up to him. The Olympic gold medalist hides around the corner as Shane comes round and shouts for Kurt, only for the Olympic gold medalist to ambush the WCW owner and take the fight to Shane. Shane is on the ground, and it's about to get a whole lot worse when Angle screams, Rhino! Rhino! Come on! An obvious ploy. Shane is down. Rhino's getting ready to hit the gore and Shane in the parking lot. But before the man-beast can run, he's attacked by Matt Hardy, the European champion. These two will meet for the title at Fully Loaded too. Angle, Shane, Rhino and Matt brawl with each other before the American hero tells the man-beast to retreat with him. Angle and Rhino's attempt at an ambush has been foiled by the European champion, and Matt Hardy and Shane McMahon high-five each other, both wishing each other good luck in their respective matches at Fully Loaded in Las Vegas. Women's action now before the main event, as Bull Nakano goes one-on-one with Jacqueline. And both Michael Cole and Taz know how Nakano is coming to the ring on her own and not being accompanied by the women's champion Aja Kong. Bull must have taken that defeat to Jacqueline in a tag team match in Raw rather personally, and it seems she wants revenge against the number one contender for the women's championship at Fully Loaded. The do or die and all or nothing sentiments really playing their part in many of the matches for Sunday's pay-per-view, but this truly is the case for Jacqueline. She either leaves Las Vegas as a new women's champion, or her wrestling career ends at the hands of Aja Kong. Jackie's proved to Terry she's not broken down. She shot Bull and Aja by beating them in a tag team match on Raw. If she can just defeat Bull Nakano now, a monster in her own right in Bull, perhaps the warning signs will be there for the women's champion Aja Kong heading into that women's title match at Caesar's Palace. And it's Jackie looking the brighter of the two in the opening moments, somehow managing to grapple the Japanese monster into a takedown. A submission when broken leaves the number one contender for the women's title being back up first to hit a clothesline and Bull, and then the springboard forearm being able to take Jackie's opponent off her own 2 feet. A wonderful start from the former Pretty Mean sister, who, ironically, needs to be more than pretty mean in this match and for her opponent at Fully Loaded. Cole thinks if the strategy of leaving Aja behind to watch this match was such a good idea, as Jackie continues offense on Bull. Kicks to the gut whilst holding the left arm of Bull, followed by another forearm to the face. Even when Bull tries to get up, it's not long before she's down again, this time with Jacqueline press and mounting punches in the style of Luthettes. The best Nakano can do at the moment is push Jackie away, but the former women's champion, and possibly future women's champion for Sunday, is relentless. Already Jacqueline is within tenths of a second of winning this match following the 2-count pinfall, and she continues the attack of the ground in Nakano, Bull herself a former women's champion. But the Japanese superstar manages to reverse Jackie's attacks into mounting punches of her own, and then constantly ram at the head of the number one contender into the mat. Maybe the worrying signs are for Jackie rather than Aja now, as Bull runs to the ropes, coming back to land on Jackie using Bull's considerable power. But Jacqueline is up off the mat quickly, and the adrenaline must be soaring as she fights back, with kicks, punches and knees to the gut of Bull Nakano. This is a great showing by Jacqueline. Even Michael Cole can't help but be Jackie's biggest fan on commentary right now. Jackie's starting to feel it too, as she acknowledges the crowd whilst Bull retreats to the outside. Jacqueline responded by launching herself over the top rope and taking out her opponent. Well, she needs to pull out all the stops. She throws Bull back in the ring and goes for the pin. Is this enough? Not quite, but she's so close to scoring a massive victory. Jackie picks Bull up, more attacks leading to a DDT. She then demands Bull get up as Jacqueline must surely be looking for the exclamation point, the spinning heel kick. But Aja comes over the ramp from ringside and into the ring, taking out Jackie with a devastating clothesline. "Oh, come on!" screams Cole. Aja lays the beat down and Jackie's Bull goes to ringside for the steel chair. This is surely going to be a DQ victory for Jackie, sadly, as Bull gets in the ring and hits Jackie in the head with a chair. Bull and Aja celebrate the destruction of Jacqueline, who lays on the mat. Bull Nakano and Aja Kong continue to celebrate as they leave the ring and walk up the ramp as the referee turns to Jacqueline. Michael Cole is annoyed with the way this match ended on such a negative note, but Taz points out the positives. Jacqueline would surely have beaten Bull tonight had Aja Kong not decided to interrupt, and maybe the women's champion came out to help her partner Bull just now, not because that was the plan, but maybe out of fear that Jacqueline would have got the job done on Bull Nakano tonight, which means that Jacqueline just might be able to get the job done in Las Vegas. Jacqueline might not look like a winner now, but given her performance tonight, and heading to Caesar's Palace in 3 days' time, Jacqueline just might be the next WWF Women's Champion. A reminder of the stipulation in the match graphic told by Michael Cole. It's a must-win match for Jacqueline if she wants to keep her WWF career alive, let alone be the next WWF Women's Champion. But Cole agrees with Taz on the positives, following her DQ victory against Bull just now. The number one contender is anything but broken down, and she's clearly gotten the better of Bull Nakano now, twice this past week. Only the mammoth that is Aja Kong stands between Jacqueline and the Women's Championship, and if the number one contender can perform as well as she has done on Raw and on SmackDown just now, perhaps it isn't Jacqueline who should be afraid of Aja, perhaps Aja should be afraid of Jacqueline. 3 days before the two collide in one epic match, Aja Kong, Jacqueline, Women's Championship at Fully Loaded. Triple H and Stone Cold are in Vince's VIP lounge. The game is incensed after CEO Linda McMahon's announcement regarding the extra stipulations added to the 10-man Tag Team Elimination match this Sunday.
Did you hear the announcement, Vince? Did you hear what your darling wife had to say regarding the 5-on-5 match at Fully Loaded? I get screwed out of my match against Chris Jericho because of the Radicals. And now, if my team doesn't beat Y2J's team in Las Vegas, I'm fired? You know, I ask myself time and time again, what kind of family did I marry into? Triple H, please, calm down. Look, you need to work with your teammates for Sunday. I know Linda continues to meddle in our affairs at any given opportunity. As you said on Raw, we are the house, Triple H, and the house always wins. The house? The house? Really, Vince? Because after Linda's announcement just now, we're nothing more than a house of cards. Sure, you can place your bets on Triple H and his team beating Jericho and the Radicals and Fully Loaded. But now, as a result of your darling wife, you might be looking at your son, your only son, who could be without a job in Las Vegas. You better pray I get the job done on Sunday, Vince. Because if things don't pan out the way they should at Caesar's Palace, then Vince, both you and Linda should be afraid. Be very afraid when both myself and my wife Stephanie come after you and your wife's jobs. Oh really? Well, I'd like to see you try, pal. Hey, can we get some damn perspective, please? I told you in the past, Vince, your wife, Linda McMahon, is ruining my life. And now she's ruining Triple H's life. She's ruining your life. She's ruins everyone's lives. But this is what she wants, for us to fall apart. But that's just not gonna happen. Now listen, we need to come together. We need to work as one. And the way we do that is by you, Triple H, helping out those Stone Cold against The Undertaker in the main event. It's always the same thing with you, isn't it, Austin? Help out Stone Cold. Give a hand to the Rattlesnake. Come to the rescue of the toughest SOB in the WWF. Hey, if you lose at Fully Loaded, you lose the WWF title. If I lose at Fully Loaded, I kiss my career goodbye. I can't believe how unreasonable you are, Triple H. You're worried about your career? You're worried about your job? Is that all? Do you know what this is? Do you know who I am? My name is Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I'm the WWF Champion. I hold the most prized possession in this industry. And you're worried about your little career? You're worried about your job when I have to defend this title against The Rock on Sunday? I can't believe how extremely selfish you're being, Triple H. You should be doing all in your power to help me, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the WWF Champion. Go on, Vince. You tell him. You tell your son. Go on, look in his beady little eyes and tell him he should be helping out old Stone Cold. Guys, please. We need to stop the bickering. Look, let's get through tonight, and then we can worry about Las Vegas. Now look, it's Austin against the Dead Man. Both of you, Austin and The Undertaker, you've been at war, and I know you've been in him before, Austin, but Triple H, we need to make sure Austin is ready for Vegas against The Rock. Now, if The Undertaker is wrestling tonight, we all know that Kane isn't far behind him. So Triple H, if you can make sure the Big Red Machine doesn't get in Austin's way, then no doubt Stone Cold will get the job done against The Undertaker tonight. I know the Brothers of Destruction have their own issues right now, but as long as we work together, we can watch Kane and The Undertaker fall apart, okay? What about Rocky? What about him, Austin? Come on, Vince, do you really think The Rock has just left Rapid City? He hasn't gone. He's probably not left the arena. You know, Vince, The Rock is probably hiding somewhere, ready to strike an old Stone Cold Steve.
The three interrupted as the monitor in the lounge shows The Rock leaving. He's getting to a limo and driving away. Vince points to the screen. The limo going to the distance is now putting a smile on the chairman and the Texas Rattlesnake.
Ha ha! See, Austin? What did I tell you? Well, now that The Rock's gone, Austin, you can go and get ready for your match, because it's coming up next.
Austin leaves, as does Triple H, but Vince interrupts the game.
Hunter, wait, I need to speak with you. Now, listen, about Fully Loaded, I'm going to do something I never thought I'd have to do. Something that's going to change the trajectory of the World Wrestling Federation. Rest assured, Hunter, I can give you peace of mind that you will be successful in your match against Jericho and the Radicals. But I need to know when the time comes. I'm going to do something that I just might regret. But I know it needs to be done. I just need your assurance that you'll have my back when the time comes. As if I haven't got enough to worry about as it is. Okay, Dad. Suppose you have my assurance. What is this great event or whatever that's going to change the trajectory of the World Wrestling Federation? Oh, you'll know when you see it.
Triple H and Vince look at the monitor again, seeing the monitor developing technical issues. Weird electrical noises and static before the monitor cuts off. Vince then looks deep in thought, his eyes widening as if he's seen a ghost.
What is it, Vince? And that's why I'm going to do it on Sunday. Something that needs to be done. For your sake. For my sake. For the sake of the World Wrestling Federation. Come on, Hunter. We need to get ready for Austin's match against The Undertaker.
Vince needing Triple H's help? Trajectory changing at Fully Loaded? What on earth is Vince talking about, Taz? Asked Michael Coe.
I've no idea, Cole,
says Taz in response.
All I do know is we're about to see a big time main event with Austin and The Undertaker. And also, Vince needs to get a new monitor.
Michael Cole tells Taz that hopefully this was just an issue with the monitor and nothing to do with previous power outages, blackouts and electrical surges that have happened in the past. But the main event is next, a rivalry that extends back years. Stone Cold Steve Austin goes one-on-one with The Undertaker, and that match is next. An old rivalry is renewed as the Deadman goes one-on-one with the Texas Rattlesnake. The American Badass comes into this match against the toughest SOB in the WWF, but it is a non-title match, because Austin will be defending the belt against The Rock at Fully Loaded. The Undertaker's not even booked for Fully Loaded, he doesn't even have a match. He may have had his issues with his own brother Kane this past month, but it's thanks to the meddling of Christian that the Brothers of Destruction will not be challenging for the tag team titles in Las Vegas. But still, there's nothing more dangerous than a dead man with nothing left to lose. From one man with nothing left to lose, to another man that could have everything to lose. The WWF Champion needs to have his wits about him right now before his biggest title defense against The Rock at Fully Loaded. Stone Cold Steve Austin claims to be a man who was born pissed off, but after bumping into The Undertaker backstage earlier tonight, he now has to contend with a pissed off American badass. This might be a non-title match, but Austin shouldn't be thinking about Las Vegas right now. He should be thinking about surviving The Undertaker tonight. And this is why Austin should be concentrating on a non-title match now, and not the WWF title match at Caesar's Palace, because The Undertaker's taking a fight to the champion. He's even throwing him around like a rag doll. But Cole and Taz ponder when Kane and Triple H plan to make their appearances in this match. Both the Dead Man and the Bionic Redneck said they would be calling on their respective partners, but when? Stone Cold may as well shout for the game right now, because he's getting his ass handed to him. The American Badass is certainly the one who puts the word destruction into the Brothers of Destruction. This leads Taz to ask what the deal is with the Brothers of Destruction. Is there beef with Kane and The Undertaker? Is there animosity? Or is it just a challenge to make each other better? Or deadlier? Well, whatever is going on between Taker and Kane seems to be having its effect on a dead man at this moment in time. The Undertaker is showing no remorse to the WWF Champion. If only the People's Champion was here to witness this, he'll be relishing the WWF title match on Sunday, says Taz. Although Michael Cole argues The Rock won't want any hand-me-downs. He'll be forward to just getting his hands in Stone Cold. Just absolute non-stop destruction for the dead man. The Undertaker throws Austin back into the ring and goes for the cover. But even if the pin count only gets to 1, Taker gives a smile as if to suggest he'd be quite happy to kick Stone Cold's ass some more. Taker doesn't have to prepare for Fully Loaded. He's got all night tonight, so he can take his time, and he doesn't even have to worry about fatigue and recovery for Sunday. Taker brings Austin into the corner and continues with the strikes. A splash into the corner of the Texas Rattlesnake leads the American Badass to pick up his opponent, and it's Snake Eyes on the top turnbuckle. Austin tries to shake off the cobwebs, and Taker bounces off the ropes, but he can't hit the big boot. Austin has somehow sensed this coming and prevents the attack. How long have we waited for Austin to get some offense and Taker in this match? But even then, the attacks don't last long. The WWF Champion gestures to the crowd, but the Undertaker's back up immediately. Austin's done nothing but piss off the dead man some more. Austin kicking out before the referee making a 1 count? That's fine by the Undertaker. He'll quite happily continue from where he left off. The American Badass hard Irish whips Stone Cold into one corner before picking up the WWF Champion and another hard Irish whip into the opposite corner. One will be forgiven for thinking it was the Undertaker who was the WWF Champion right about now, not Stone Cold. Another pinfall. This time the referee manages to count to 2, but again that's fine by the Undertaker. But now it's Stone Cold on the offensive, preventing a body punch from the dead man and countering with a body punch of his own. The WWF Champion Irish whips the American Badass into the ropes and responds with a Luthet's press. Austin, focused, locked, loaded, fully loaded perhaps, and hits the Stone Cold Stunner. Oh, this will be a remarkable victory if the Stunner is enough to keep the Undertaker down as Austin goes for the pin. But the American Badass says no as he kicks out at 2, but it's a long way to go before we get to Vegas. Taker looks like he's teetering, but he just might have seen Austin flip the double bird, firing up the dead man, using his legs to prevent Austin's attack in the corner. The American Badass launching himself out of the corner himself, with a flying clothesline taking out the Texas Rattlesnake. The referee makes another count, only garnering the 2, but it seems like the dead man's games are over, and now he means business. Austin tries to escape but only walks into a Taker big boot. Taker picking up Stone Cold and looks for the last ride, but Austin manages to throw Taker over his head. The WWF Champion seems to be so pleased with the counter as he throws out middle fingers at the dead man and continues the attack on the grounded opponent with a double axe handle, foot stomps and kicks. Even when the American Badass tries to get up, Austin is quick and attacks with a face crusher. He's so pleased with himself that he even gestures to the crowd again. This time the Undertaker lays down on the mat. Austin then goes to the middle rope and then jumps off with another double axe handle, but the Phenom has plenty left in the tank still, as the 1 count from the referee would suggest. Austin is sure that whatever Undertaker can do to Stone Cold can do to The Undertaker too. A hard Irish whip into the turnbuckle, but a second hard Irish whip into another corner is reversed by The Undertaker, with Austin taking a hit. The dead man picks up the Texas Rattlesnake, grabbing at the left arm, perhaps looking for old school, but Austin's right arm is free for the bionic redneck to throw a punch right in the face of his opponent and break free of the move, before again going for a Luthet's press with punches. As Austin sizes up Taker in the corner, perhaps looking for a second stunner, but Taker is up and manages to grab at Austin first, throwing him into the corner, and again another splash. The Deadman picks up the Texas Rattlesnake and again hits Snake Eyes in the top turnbuckle. Taker rebounding off the ropes, and this time is successful in hitting the big boot, then running to the ropes again to come back and hit the leg drop. Danger for Austin. Taker goes for the pin. The referee makes the count, but it's not quite 3. Taker can't keep Austin down as the WWF Champion counters a kick into a dragon screw. Austin's looking to throw his opponent over the top rope. It seems the Bionic Redneck will be satisfied taking a count-out victory, but it's the Bionic Redneck going over the top rope himself. The American Badass won't want a count-out victory though. He'll want to do as much damage as he can as he gets out of the ring, picks up Stone Cold at ringside near the entrance ramp, and grabs at the neck of the Texas Rattlesnake, looking for the chokeslam. But Austin is the wherewithal to elbow himself out of the predicament and respond by hitting the Bulldog on the Undertaker on the outside. The WWF Champion wants to try and keep the Deadman out of the ring. Taker manages to avoid an attack, but he can't grapple at his opponent as Austin breaks free with a kick to the gut and a shoulder check. The referee is halfway in the count to 10 as Austin is now back in the ring. He's quite happy for the Undertaker to stay on the ground. It gives Austin a breather at least, but made him a possibility of victory. A cheap way to win, thinks Michael Cole, as the referee shouts at the Undertaker to get back in the ring, lest he be counted out. But Austin won't care. Count of 8, finally movement from the Undertaker. Austin isn't too happy about this. The WWF Champion decides to leave the ring, and it's a bad idea, as the Undertaker's up and throws Stone Cold towards a barricade. The Deadman then charges towards the grounded Rattlesnake to hit a leg drop near the steel steps. The Phenom isn't finished as he picks up Austin and throws him back towards ringside near the entrance ramp. As referee continues to make his count towards 10 again, Undertaker isn't finished, this time picking up his opponent and launching Stone Cold Steve Austin into the steel steps. We're now halfway towards a count of 10, but the Deadman isn't going to look for the count-out victory. It's going to be by pinfall, submission, or if Taker does enough damage to Austin, referee stoppage perhaps. Taker knows the time is near to defeat his opponent as he gestures towards the fans at ringside, but Austin, now back in the ring, is back up and flips the double bird, angering the Deadman, who gets back in the ring and walks into yet another Luthet's press from Austin. The playing field is starting to even out now. Taker reverses an Austin attack, then puts the Texas Rattlesnake on the ropes with his back towards the Phenom, allowing the Undertaker with repeating right hands to the lower back of Austin. But Stone Cold elbows his way out of trouble and counters with a gut-wrench suplex. Anything to keep the Undertaker down as he goes for the pin, but the 1 count is not encouraging. Morphle stomps to a grounded Undertaker, another double axe handle. It's as if Taz has turned coach and commentary by telling Austin to keep at it with stomps and fists. "Don't let the Deadman get an inch in, Austin," he says. Even if the Deadman has managed to get back up, Austin is vicious, continues right hands and chops, not giving Undertaker a chance to retaliate. The WWF Champion finishing off the strikes with a Bulldog. The Undertaker has to use the ropes to get himself back up. This allows Austin to clothesline the Undertaker over the top rope and back to ringside again. Austin shouted at the referee, "Count him! Count that son of a bitch!" But the Deadman manages to get back in the ring halfway through the count. However, an attack by the Phenom is thwarted with an elbow from Austin, and the WWF Champion again clothesline the Undertaker over the top rope and back to ringside. The desperation of the Texas Rattlesnake is there to be seen. "Count him again, ref!" he screams. Austin celebrates towards the fans in the ring, but they're not too happy. Taker enters the ring from the adjacent side to the entrance ramp. Austin starts to strike again as an opponent, but it's the Undertaker with the counter. Lefts, rights, punches to the body and strikes to the face. Grab of the neck, a chokeslam. Oh, that's gotta be all. The pin, the count, the kick out at 2. Oh, that's surely gotta be it now. Taker is up, and a cut of the throat. Surely Deadman is signalling for the Tombstone Piledriver. Undertaker waits for Austin to get up when Taz shouts, "Hey, look who's at the top of the ramp!" It's Christian. He's gesturing for the Undertaker to come get some of the young Canadian. Taker turns around to see the interruption, but it doesn't seem to bother the Undertaker that much, because coming up behind Christian is revealed to be Kane. Christian walked right into that one, as he runs down the ramp trying to escape the big red machine, as the American Badass watches from inside the ring. A chase around the whole of ringside, from the entrance ramp, and eventually past the commentary table. Christian feeling like there's no other choice but to escape from Kane by getting inside the ring. But The Undertaker's been waiting for this moment. He kicks Christian in the gut and hits the young Canadian with a last ride. The former tag team champion will think twice before making such an interruption again, as Taker demands Kane get in the ring to deal with Christian so Taker can get back to business. Kane throws Christian over the top rope before staring at The Undertaker and then leaves. But at the top of the ramp is now Triple H, avec sledgehammer. The demon is demanding Triple H come down to the ring. Is this wise, Undertaker? Michael Cole doesn't think so, as Austin is starting to come round to. The game agrees to come down the ramp. Taker waits as Michael Cole screams, "Hey, it's Austin! It's Austin!" Taker turns around and walks right into the Stone Cold Stunner as Triple H watches from ringside. The job is done. Austin makes the pinfall. The referee makes the count. Oh, this should have been The Undertaker's victory given the way this match went down, but it took distractions from both Christian and Triple H to hand Austin the victory tonight. Even if Kane was on hand to deal with the young Canadian, the interruption from the game that followed was just too much for the Brothers of Destruction to handle together. The two-man power trip celebrate Austin's victory, but Kane's still at ringside, and it seems business hasn't exactly finished before the show closes. Kane gets in the ring and decides he's going to take on the two-man power trip. A snapmare to the game. He turns to the rattlesnake, a right hand and a headbutt. Back to Triple H, a right hand for him, and then a club to the back. But Christian slides back into the ring. He's going to get his revenge on Kane. An attack of the Big Red Machine that leads to the Unprettier. The young Canadian decides he's done enough and leaves via the crowd. Wait! Jericho! Jericho! Y2J swings down and Triple H spots one of his opponents for Sunday. The two are now going outside the ring at the bottom of the entrance ramp. Austin watches from the ring as Cole and Taz are screaming, "Undertaker! Undertaker!" The Demon's back up and he's now going at it with Austin. Y2J and the game continue to attack each other on the outside. Austin and Taker throwing haymakers inside the ring. The rest of Triple H's and Y2J's teammates join the brawl up the ramp. Perry Saturn is attacking Big Show with rights and lefts, trying to take the 7-foot giant off his feet. Triple H and Jericho continue at it. Austin and Taker continue to go out in the ring. Haku now takes the fight to Perry Saturn. All hell has broken loose. Both teams trying to get the advantage before heading to Caesar's Palace. Haku hits Perry Saturn with a powerbomb. Benoit! Benoit! Benoit picks up his victory over Regal tonight by going out with the former commissioner. Again back in the ring, Austin and Taker trying to find the advantage. Regal continues to match Benoit's attacks with punches of his own. Eddie's at the bottom of the ramp. He's thrown Raven into the barricade. We're in for an explosive 10-man Tag Team Elimination match at Fully Loaded as Triple H's team and Jericho and the Radicals continue to brawl. The 10 men start to brawl up the ramp and go behind the curtain. Meanwhile, Austin has managed to get the better of The Undertaker and throw him out of the ring. "Wait, do you hear that?" asks Cole, as electrical noises can be heard in the arena. "Look at the Tron, Cole," says Taz. "The video's going funny. Electrical effects. Well, we've seen this before." The effects are coming from the Tron and have made Austin angry, and he's demanding their stop. They've played the rattlesnake throughout the month of June, and now the effects, the lights have gone dark. "Oh my," says Cole, "another blackout. Could it be?" Electrical noises can be heard, and the Titantron lights up to reveal Mount Rushmore. But why? More sound effects, and this time electrical visuals plaguing the Tron and Mount Rushmore itself. To reveal The Rock. The Rock's at Mount "Hey, wait," says Cole. "That's The Rock. But look at Mount Rushmore in the background. It's a picture of each forefather replaced with The Rock. How has he managed to do this, Taz?" Rapid City stays in darkness as the Great One speaks through the Tron.
"Now, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock says, did you really think that you and Vince McMahon could just throw The Rock out of Rapid City and not let the Great One get the last word tonight on SmackDown? SmackDown, The Rock Show, The People Show. Well, Austin, you don't need to answer that question because it doesn't matter what you think. What you should be thinking about, Stone Cold, is that The Rock guaranteed he'd get the last word tonight, and therefore, Stone Cold, The Rock, he's guaranteed he's going for it all. He's making the promise of the promise of the promise that the People's Champion leaves Las Vegas as the next WWF Champion. But just before The Rock goes, Austin, before SmackDown ends, The Rock wants you to take a look behind the Great One. Because behind the Great One is the great memorial itself, Mount Rushmore. Now, Stone Cold, Rapid City, the world for that matter, You must be asking yourselves, who are the 4 handsome men that grace Mount Rockmore? Well, The Rock is glad you asked, and he's here to tell you who they are. So let's start on the left, shall we? Our first founding father himself, George Rockington. You see, when the people needed a people's champion, the people, they came together and they chose George Rockington to be their man, the founding father, their founding rock father. And when the great people needed a leader, not just for the great state of South Dakota, but across the United States of America, they turned to the second face. That's right, the great people chose Thomas Rockerson. Now don't get The Rock wrong. The Great One understands that as united as we stand as the great US of A, there will always be times when disagreement abounds and when war begins. But be that as it may, that leads The Rock to our third face, the man that kept the preservation of the US of A alive during our times of war, and his name is Rockraham Lincoln. And finally, the face that led our country's development as we were united as one, his name is Theodore Roosevelt. You sense the theme here, Austin? You look at the rocks behind you, because the rocks behind me, The Rock talking to you right now, the people of Rapid City and the people of South Dakota, the people of our United States of America, we are all indeed united. United as one in knowing that The Rock is going into Fully Loaded. The Rock is going to kick your candy ass all over Caesar's Palace. And The Rock is going to leave Las Vegas as the new WWF Champion. Austin, the countdown is on. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. And at Fully Loaded, the countdown and your reign as WWF Champion is over. You see, Austin, The Rock knows it, the people know it, the handsome faces behind The Rock know it, and even the handsome face stood behind you, Austin, knows it. See you in Vegas, Austin, if you smell what The Rock is cooking.
More electrical effects and sounds in the Tron, again building to crescendo before the Tron fades to black. We're in total darkness now whilst Cole and Taz ponder on who The Rock was referring to by the handsome face stood behind Austin. But the lights come back on. Hey wait, screams Cole, it's The Rock! The Rock is here in the arena! The People's Champion sizes up the WWF Champion. Austin turns around and walks into a Stone Cold Stunner. I want to wait for The Rock to get the final word in SmackDown and before the big WWF title match at Fully Loaded. The Rock has once again foiled Austin, again using blackouts and electrical effects to get in ahead of the Texas Rattlesnake. Penance perhaps for throwing the People's Champion out of the arena tonight. The Great One has indeed lived up to his word. He guaranteed he'd have the final say before SmackDown goes off the air, and he has delivered. Las Vegas awaits for the Brahma Bull and the Bionic Redneck, but The Rock, for all of his confidence, for all of his skill, he now truly has to put his money where his mouth is in Las Vegas. He must win the WWF Championship, or he will never leave an arena as WWF Champion ever again. SmackDown goes off the air as The Rock celebrates with the fans of Rapid City. Just 3 days to go. The countdown is indeed on. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock for the WWF Championship at Fully Loaded. Well, hello guys, it's been a while. Hope everyone is okay and having a good new year. Although I am more than aware now that we're in March. Man, doesn't time fly so quickly. Can't remember how long ago since the last episode was. But man, it's good to be back with the Invasion story, and thank you all so much for bearing with me. So, 91, marvellous. I mean, that might be the best SmackDown score yet. Glad to end on such a high note before the pay-per-view. I just hope I can take that momentum when it comes to booking Fully Loaded. And I know tonight's episode is long, really long, mainly to do with hype revolving around the match graphics for Sunday's pay-per-view, and I'll show the card in the conclusion of this video. Regarding my feelings for booking this particular episode, I do have comments regarding the title and location of the show, which I will get onto in a minute. As far as the booking the show and matches involved, because I've kept coming back to this irregularly because of what's going on with my laptop at the moment, I'm not sure what I would or should have done differently. One thing I will say is, I was unsure about what main event to have. Again, that plays a part into the title and location of this episode. So my original plan was to have William Regal go one-on-one with The Rock, as a way of Rock getting his revenge for when Regal blindsided the Great One as the Black Mask last week in SmackDown. But seeing as The Rock was occupied as part of the story, which I changed between then and now, and given how I don't think I've used the Texas Rattlesnake in as many matches this month, I thought it was probably a better idea for Austin to main event tonight's show, and against a strong main eventer with someone like The Undertaker, so that's what I've done. Another thing to mention as well regarding tonight's show, those of you who are familiar with the WWF in 2001 will no doubt notice the rip-off that was the Jim Ross sit-down interview with Stone Cold and The Rock. Yeah, I've completely stolen it from, I think it was an episode of SmackDown. I think it was the episode of SmackDown before WrestleMania, if not maybe the one the week before. But it was that episode leading up to the WWF title match with The Rock and Stone Cold at WrestleMania X7. Again, you could argue maybe this is lazy booking, but hopefully following the conclusion of Fully Loaded itself, I can demonstrate that the way I book Stone Cold and The Rock's feud is, in fact, I'm not going to say why, because I feel that anything I may say might imply a spoiler, but yeah, I borrowed from for tonight's sit-down interview from the episode of SmackDown back in March, and I've used even some of the comments made in the sit-down interview, and I've copied them, or rather rearranged them to fit this particular feud that's going on with The Rock and Stone Cold now, because I'll say that The Rock and Stone Cold here, this sit-down interview is a different dynamic. The March interview saw two valiant babyfaces at the time talk about the WWF Championship. But with my version, there's only one valiant babyface here, and that's The Rock. And The Rock here is now the challenger for the WWF Championship, when he was the champion back then. And he's now alongside Stone Cold, who's not a valiant babyface, but a paranoid psychotic heel, and he's the champion, not the challenger.
What does Rock the WWF Championship? What does it mean to you?
Now, last time we did this interview, I asked The Rock about what it meant to be the WWF champion. But this Sunday, you're the one going into Caesar's Palace as the champion. So my question is, what does the WWF Championship mean to you?
Well, being the WWF champion solidifies the fact that you are at the mountaintop, solidifies the fact that you've grabbed that brass ring.
Well, what do you think it means to me, Jim? It means I'm the very best that this industry has to offer.
So being the WWF champion solidifies the fact that I'm the absolute best.
It means I'm the greatest wrestler in the world.
The fact is, Rock, you got the WWF title, and I want it.
The bottom line is, Rock, I got the WWF title, and you want it, but you're not gonna get it. You did it at WrestleMania. You won't at Fully Loaded.
There can be only one World Wrestling Federation champion.
There can be only one World Wrestling Federation champion.
And that will be, Rock, when it's all said and done.
But at Fully Loaded, that will be
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
The Rock. With all due respect.
I just want to bring up some of the things I mentioned in the previous episode. The first one is the options on how I should book Fully Loaded itself, and more so the show before it, Sunday Night Heat. This was in reference to the crowd burnout option on the game. So should I keep crowd burnout on and limit the total of both shows so that the total comes to 3.5 hours? Or should I turn crowd burnout off and make the most of it? Or should I keep crowd burnout on, book Sunday Night Heat on a Saturday night, but in essence it's still Sunday Night Heat anyway because the show itself is aired on a Sunday night? So, after talking with my brother Sam about it, and I'll get on to Sam in a moment for thank yous, I'm going to go with the second option, and that's booking to my heart's content and making the most of it. Now, you may argue this is cheating, fair enough, but my counter-argument is twofold. So, one, I feel that this invasion story with its visuals and everything is getting a better response from viewers watching and likes. So, and as a result, I can use Sunday Night Heat's full hour to build up to the Fully Loaded pay-per-view. And what I wanted to do as well is include some matches and angles, some that might include a little bit of a twist and turn along the way before Fully Loaded starts itself. I keep saying card is always subject to change after all, so I just want to make the most of Sunday Night Heat. And my second argument regarding turning crowd burnout off is a fair amount of WWF or WWE pay-per-views in general. Have the crowd really gone mild for every pay-per-view following the 1 hour pre-show and 2.5 hours into the main show? I mean, I don't really think that's the case. I feel that there's more that haven't had crowd burnout as a result. I mean, more people have still been, really looking forward to how the show ends. So I'll give you one example, and I'm sure there's more examples than not. WrestleMania 17 itself, which is a 4-hour show if I remember rightly, and Sunday Night Heat, which airs before that, is a 1-hour show. So in a total, that's 5 hours. So when the main event begins, let's say half an hour before the end, The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWF Championship, we're 4.5 hours into that show. And obviously Howard Finkel makes the announcement that the main event is now no disqualification.
And in this contest, there will be no...
And then the next thing, glass shatters. Does the crowd go mild? Hell no. Texas loses its damn mind as Stone Cold Steve Austin is walking down the ramp. And that's one example. I'm sure there are more examples than not of pay-per-views like this during the Attitude Era, if not other eras too. So, to quote Shawn Michaels from the mid-90s, is there crowd burnout after 3.5 hours on a WWF show?
Oh, I don't think so!
And the next point I want to bring up from the previous episode was the answer to the question I posed. And thank you, Dave Mack, you got the question right. The meaning behind Haku's lesson 599 was a reference to the man whose name was the location of that episode, Amory T. Slats Gill, who was head coach for Oregon State University, who has amassed 599 victories in his 36 seasons there as head coach. I just hope I've got that right, actually. So I'm going to continue to steal Dave Mack's idea for this particular episode by asking another question. Now, this concerns a 10-man Tag Team Elimination match for Fully Loaded. So it's Chris Jericho and the Radicals, and taking on Triple H's team. The original stipulation was that should Jericho and the Radicals lose that match, then they're fired. And it hasn't helped that, despite the Radicals rejecting Shane McMahon's offer to join WCW, Jericho and the Radicals' past associations with World Championship Wrestling have now put them in the firing line, no pun intended. But my question isn't really in reference to Jericho and the Radicals, but more so their opponents, Triple H, Haku, Big Show, William Regal and Raven. So you might look at this team, Triple H's team, and think, this is a really random bunch of individuals that I have stuck together and booked to take on Jericho and the Radicals in Las Vegas. But there's a reason that I've done this. So my question, or rather a combination of questions that all in essence all revolve around the same answer, is this. What is the reason for this randomness of the superstars, Triple H, Haku, Big Show, Raven and William Regal? What is the reason for this randomness? What is the connection that Triple H, Haku, Big Show, Raven and Regal share with Jericho, Benoit, Guerrero, Malenko and Saturn? What is the irony that Triple H's team are fighting Jericho and the Radicals originally because of Jericho and the Radicals' past associations with WCW? All these questions are essentially the same answer, and the answer, which is the reason, I will give to you on the episode that I do of Sunday Night Heat. I'll give you the answer there in the form of a Chris Jericho promo on Sunday Night Heat before the pay-per-view Fully Loaded. Right, so on to this episode of SmackDown tonight, which kind of segues into my thank you part of the conclusion. So, I can say the idea of Rock Formation as a title for tonight was my idea, but I originally conceived the thumbnail idea to be more of The Rock, similar to the idea of the Bad Blood pay-per-view poster in 2004, which features Edge. It's a combination of Edge faces. So this is what I wanted to do here. It's like a Rock Formation, or an evolution of old pictures of The Rock to present Rock. And by present Rock, I mean present Rock in 2001, pre-bald head and pecker tattoo. And when I mentioned this idea to my brother Sam, and I was calling the episode Rock Formation, Sam's reply was, "Oh nice, so something like Mount Rushmore." And I stopped and I thought to myself, you're never thinking of Mount Rushmore to begin with. I'm thinking, Sam, that's awesome. So I completely changed the idea of the thumbnail and how the show would play out as a result. I should say it was actually Sam's idea for the thumbnail, so thank you to Sam for the idea. Sam suggested he design the thumbnail, we'd take the faces of Mount Rushmore, but instead put each face of Mount Rushmore and replace them with The Rock. So I've got to give credit to Sam for that idea, it's absolutely fantastic. So which obviously gave me the idea to have The Rock be kicked out of tonight's show, leading to The Rock going to Mount Rushmore and showing Mount Rushmore rather than Mount Rockmore, with obviously the story that he's had with Austin in the past with electrical surges, power outages and stuff, and that's how we'd ended SmackDown, especially with Rock getting the last word in and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I just hope, someone tell me, please, hopefully I've got the names of the presidents and like the face and locations right in this episode. I mean, it's bad enough that I'm not American, and as well as trying to do a bad impression, when it's weird playing character, trying to display someone's patriotism for the United States. I mean, I'm across the Atlantic. But Sam, thank you so much for the idea of this show and for your work in designing the thumbnail. Great stuff. And again, keeping it with the theme of the thank yous and Sams, this leads me to my next thank you, and a shout out too. Samuel Coe, who you may have heard me reference in the past regarding his rebooking of the WCW Invasion itself, and the critique of Adam Blompier's booking of the Invasion. Samuel was very kind to give me a shout out in his latest video, and I appreciate it, man, that's very nice. But just out of interest, if any of you new subscribers have come from Samuel's channel, thank you. And hello, my name's Chris Iobeast and I play TEW. And I know what you're thinking, what a weird time for me to introduce myself in this video. But yes, at the moment I'm mainly playing Total Extreme Wrestling 2020 and the new version, TEW 9, both of which are wrestling booker simulators. Just imagine your favourite sports manager game but professional wrestling instead. Because who doesn't love to fantasy book when it comes to pro wrestling, right? So this is me at the moment, rebooking the WCW Invasion here on TEW 2020, and rebooking Hulk Hogan joining TNA in January 2010 in the TEW 9 demo, but with less visuals. Again, if you've come from Samuel's channel, welcome, and thank you so much. But right, back to Samuel. So his latest episode is a defence of Bill Goldberg, the WCW wrestler who shot to the top in World Championship Wrestling during pro wrestling's peak of the Attitude Era in the summer of '98. I say Samuel's video is a defence of Goldberg, but I'd rather say it's more a critique of a video that critiques Bill Goldberg's pro wrestling career, which was published by Stunned by Wrestling. So you could say a critique of a critique. Now as far as Goldberg goes as a wrestler, I like Goldberg, I was a fan. I feel like I have to say this in order to save face, Samuel, following our conversation on the comment section of your video. So, I watched Stunned by Wrestling's video to get some context as to why Samuel did his video as a response. And I didn't really think much to Stunned by Wrestling's video when I first watched it. Yeah, he made some points I agree with, some things I laughed at too. But again, what I enjoyed about Samuel's rebuttal is the points that he makes and how he backs them up. But more so, he's done this without unnecessary character attacks, like Stunned by Wrestling did, in essence. And now I look back and I think to myself, more fool me for laughing when really, if you're going to make a point or an argument, which is a critique, at least be professional about it. And I won't add any more to this discussion other than really you should watch Samuel's video because it is great, and it's something that I look back in hindsight and I think I really should have looked this with a more critical lens myself. So another stellar job by you, Samuel, well done. Something I will add as well, and it's funny, I always think of these ideas when they're just too late. Another thing that came to my mind in retrospect, and I wish I'd have seen earlier, the Goldberg vs DDP match at Halloween Havoc 1998 is absolutely fantastic. So, in essence, I'm not surprised Stunned by Wrestling hasn't really mentioned this. And Samuel, I'm joking when I say the following, but if you'd have shown that Goldberg vs DDP match in full, that would have been a successful defence of Goldberg in its own right. You wouldn't need to have added anything else. If anyone's wondering, as far as my playthrough goes, will Goldberg be featured in this Invasion story? If I say I'm not going to tell you the answer to that, that hopefully should be all the answer you need for that question. But that being said, another great video, Samuel. I really hope there's more to come too when you get the chance, because his stuff is absolutely fantastic. And again, thank you so much for the shout out. And I think that's it. It's done. The episode's completed, and I'm all out of talking points. It's now time to head to Las Vegas. So the next episode will be Sunday Night Heat, which leads into the Fully Loaded pay-per-view itself. I'm not sure how long this episode is going to be, I'm sure it's ridiculous, but Fully Loaded's time will be just that, fully loaded. Probably longer than the King of the Ring pay-per-view, I imagine. I'm so sorry for how long it's taken to get this episode up, and I really couldn't say how long it's going to be before the pay-per-view itself is uploaded. But I'll keep you up to date during the TNA episodes I publish. But in the meantime, you've all the time in the world to predict who wins it all in Las Vegas, whose careers will end, and if we witness a possible retirement, or defection, or both. Thank you so much for watching as we head to Caesar's Palace for Fully Loaded. Vegas, baby!
Maybe The Rock has to confess the fact that not only could he not get the job done at WrestleMania, but he will never get the job done at Fully Loaded. Tick-tock. Tick-tock. Austin, your reign as WWF Champion is over.